think I just won my taxes.
Oh, yeah?
I just switched from...
Okay. Boom shakalaka. We're live, people. We're live, but right now it says starting soon. We've got our beautiful starting soon banner going, provided by our lovely Char McCormick, going on the screen. Can anybody check that? Make sure it is viewable. Oh, look, I got a notification.
Char, you're muted. I can't hear, or you can't hear anything.
Why did it mute me? That's fucked. But no, it says our channel is not live. Oh no, there we go. Now it's live. Okay.
All right. There we go.
Just took a second. Look at that starting soon page. Look at that. That's
Isn't
so
that so cute? So cute. So stinking cute.
Where did Patrick go? We lost Patrick.
We did lose Patrick.
He'll be right back. He's got to pop off or do his headphones and then come back.
Gotcha.
Unfortunately for him, because of what he's on, it doesn't go well with the attaching of the.
Yeah, he has to be connected before he
Headset.
goes live. I think mine's the same way.
Mine we don't have a problem with, but you know.
You're just a wee bit tinny, but we've, day 2, week 2, we are making progressive progress.
And better
So-
titties than
Do me a
ever.
favor, wipe off your camera.
Blurry, honey.
You're hazy as hell.
But I'm not on the stream together, so it's actually... It has to recalibrate.
Okay.
Hey.
Patrick, go back to the link.
It says awaiting response, my bro. Send invite. Oh, the host or another mod just performed that action. I'm so sorry. Headphones. Okay. All right. Gotcha. Awesome sauce.
Oh, just to let you guys know, just in case, if you see my camera drop or my mic drop, Aries isn't feeling well.
We have a kiddo stitch. All right.
Patrick just said up, please. It's like,
Yeah, I tried to send it to him.
Uppies.
uppies.
It literally says awaiting response. You invited.
I find sometimes I have to like fully leave the app and then go back in and click on the notification again whenever I'm sitting in the backstage.
Okay, hold on. What if I just remove his freaking...
There you go.
And invite him again. No, I don't want to report author Julie DeFisher. No.
But she's naughty. But she's naughty.
You know what's really awesome, y'all?
What?
On my stream together stream, okay, so I'm always in the upper right-hand corner, right, because I'm running the software. But as you guys come in, you filter around, but because of how I set it up last time, Julie's up on top next to me. Like, set right there, so that Julie and I are up on top.
That's awesome.
And here's the funny thing on mine, I'm here, Izzy's below me, Patrick's next to me, and Char's on the bottom corner. So it's like,
so we are all different on ours. However, the thing is that for the actual stream,
it's the same.
Yeah, we're in the right spots.
We're in the right spots every single time. That is awesome. Do we
Yay.
have any viewers?
We ain't got nobody yet.
We don't got any.
I'm still trying to get my shit set up because it kicked me off my tablet.
Ew. Okay.
Okay, that was what happened. I figured you were having earphone issues.
No, I switched to get my earphones on to Bluetooth to my tablet, and then it kicked me off Twitch. And then I was in the queue waiting for host to accept, and then I got booted out.
Yeah. No, it said over
So
here
then
that
it,
we were waiting on you to accept. That's a cray
I don't
cray.
know. So then all of a sudden it came up on my laptop because I had to open up Twitch to get a hold of you guys. So I need to figure out how to hook these up to this because I've never hooked them up to my laptop before.
All right.
Okay, yeah, I just had to check, and they can fully hear us on the stream at the moment. So
Yeah,
we
I
need
kind of figured.
we need. Well, you can set up the starting soon channel so there's no audio and it's just the actual logo for future reference.
Oh, definitely. But that's what I was trying to do, was to try and get the starting soon so that we could go live.
Yeah,
Our
absolutely.
lovely people know us. They know we are completely unhinged.
It's
So
it's
they're
no
just
different,
not seeing our
right?
friendly faces at the moment.
It's no different than when we're taking forever to start on TikTok.
Absolutely.
This just makes it easier for me to edit it when it's actually done.
Right. So as soon as the starting soon pops off, that's where it
Let's see.
starts.
Yeah. Yep.
Alrighty.
I swear, some of these TikTok posts just make me so riled up.
Oh, was that Stavros I was hearing?
Sorry, guys. I was still in chord at the same time.
Okay.
That was
I was
Starfrost.
sitting here like, that sounded like Stavros. What the fuck?
So I
It
couldn't
was.
Bluetooth it, but I got earphones on.
All right.
Everybody say hi, Mom.
Hi,
Hi, Mama.
Mom.
Hi, Mom.
And don't
All
mind
right.
me while I eat.
Nah, you're good. All right. 3, 2, 1. Take it away, boss.
Oh, okay. It was like 3, 2, 1. It was like, okay, you want to. I thought we were doing a countdown on the other screen. I have no idea. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Twitch. Second week in a row. My name is Julie DeFetcher, author of Destined for More, Four Kings for Four Queens series. My lovely co-host under the Hold My Pen Promptcast banner, Miss Izzy Krause. We're also joined tonight by our other two co-hosts, P.A. Power, author of the Chimera Wolf series, Chimera Wolf, Chimera Clan, Decoding Shady Pines, and the newest released as of yesterday / today, Kingdom of Shadows, which was entirely written on the show. Yay! And then in our bottom corner over there, we have Miss C.M. McCormick. Oh, my reverbing again.
No, you're fine. Here's
She
my.
was
Okay.
okay. So she was for a second.
I think it was the audio catching up with me. Author of the Dolan Syndicate series, My Neighbor's a Mobster, or I think My Neighbor's a Mobster. I think I'm playing for a mobster, Mobster Under the Mistletoe, and Mobster in the PTA. If I don't do it that way, I will never get all the damn books.
That's all right.
And then
That's all right.
hopefully
That's the order you gotta do
soon,
it, and it's fine.
very soon. Exactly. Those also the order that I received them in, so you gotta go that route too. But yeah, our lovely C.R. McCormick, Also the designer of our covers, our video editor, our all around baddie right there in the corner right there, people. All around baddie. And hopefully we will be getting Mobster into the mistletoe, or not Mobster into the mistletoe. The look of the Mobster very
There you
soon,
go.
depending on when she can get around
Working
to
on
it,
it.
because she's a very busy woman that lives in the middle of nowhere.
So is it just me, or does my picture not show up? My
Yeah,
camera.
your camera's not running. Neither is
Your
Izzy's.
picture is not on. No.
I hate this.
It's the second run on Twitch. You're gonna have scuff still.
Well, I liked it better when I had it working on my
It's like,
tablet because I could actually get it to work.
Yeah, I prefer it on tablet too. Honestly, that's why I've got you guys up on my tripod.
it's gonna be some growing pains, peeps.
Absolutely.
I'm not exactly all that happy go lucky about it, but you know what? We got to do what we got to do to make sure the show survives.
I'm happy about it. I'm excited to be here.
Well, I figured yours was off on purpose, but
Yeah, we figured Izzy's was off on purpose because she's outside doing.
We see in the profile window in the background or the back room, whatever it's called. I see our three. My camera's working, and I can see everyone except for Izzy. But in the actual
You're
room,
even.
it's not letting me.
It even says you're muted on here too, but we can hear you perfectly fine. It's weird.
well, on my side it just shows uh no camera, but it's not showing that he's muted. I don't know.
Oh, let's see who we've got.
Here's the only problem with Twitch, and we'll figure it out as we go. We got no way of letting people know. It's like, hey, it's time. Like, it's time, people. It's time.
Well, I mean,
Chloe,
you can
if
set
you
up
do not.
you set up notifications that the channel goes live, and whoever's following you will get the notification. There's your camera. But yeah,
Good.
you can set up notifications so that everyone who follows you knows you're going live.
Well, yeah, it asked me that as soon as we got on. But the whole thing is it's not like when we would get on with TikTok and you would just like hit the button and just let everybody invite everybody over.
Yeah, there's
So
no
it's
spamming emails.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
There's no way of saying, hey, we're here. But we'll figure it out. We always do.
Always do.
Well, there's Dahlia.
Who's Kit Kat's mad?
Chloe.
It's not that she's mad. She's in heat.
I knew that.
Again?
And she keeps backing. Still, we have a new bull that has wandered up, and he's staying in the garage. So she smells him, and he smells her. And before, when we had like that little bout where it stopped raining, he was out on the freaking garbage can, which is right outside my window. And he was baying to her. And now she's baying back, but he's in the garage, and she keeps backing her butt up to my computer and like twerking. Doesn't work out well for me. Ow. She's fixing to end up in the no-no cage. If she doesn't stop.
She's going to go into the no-no cage because she wants him in her
We're
no-no
live
square.
on Twitch. Come join us.
Uh-huh.
You know how to get there.
And I can't wait to afford to be able to get Kitty fixed so we don't have to deal with this anymore. But at this particular time and moment, she is just getting on my ever-loving nerves.
Dahlia, are you in here right now?
Worldwide 99000. I believe that's Dahlia.
Ma'am.
Yeah. Is he saying yes?
What?
I'm working on one of her covers right now, and someone overpaid me.
I have to get the cobwebs off my ceiling.
Don't you all look away innocent. What the fuck? Dahlia! Oh, I'm gonna have words with you in Discord right now. Because I need to keep this professional. So I'm gonna have words with you in Discord.
Okay, and there's a little video over on TikTok that just got shared.
Oh, telling everyone where to go?
Where to go? Where to go? Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry guys. I've been out of it for the last, week. I'm falling behind on my responsibilities.
You're fine. You're fine. You're fine. Okay. What else do I have to pull up? Beacons.
The email.
Oh, I got the beacons. All right. Well, and here's the thing. Our first up is someone who doesn't want to watch the stream because they're feeling a couple of ways and don't really want to hear somebody reading it out. Firsthand embarrassment and fear. Never mind the fact that we were all enamored with their first story that they submitted. So, I'm going to be a proud mama bear regardless. But, all right. There we go. We got comments. We got stuffs. We're going to make it. That's all I got to say.
Mhm.
We're going to make it. All right. Sound off. What are we asking for sound off for?
Oh, no, not sound off like that. Sound off. See who's all here, who's not, or looking for a
okay.
response.
So
I know Miss Kesh was hijacked to go to a concert against her will tonight. So
yeah, against the will.
Well,
all
it looks
right,
like
there we
we've
go.
got
There we go.
Oh,
Stavros, Trisha, and Dahlia is in here. Oh, woman.
okay. So of our uh, normal crowd, 4 of us are up here. We got 3 of our 4 from the comments area. And frankly, I know they were talking about scuff earlier and whatnot, but the fact that we have a program, we have step by step, we do this, then we do this, and then we do this. We built that on TikTok with you guys. And you guys have been there with us building this in the background. And yeah, we've moved. You're troopers. You followed us over. And it's not like we're starting from scratch on a platform that we don't understand. We have a show that we're learning how to put on a new platform. And you guys did that for us. So that's
Hell yeah.
even thinking about it right now in my current too much testosterone in my system because I'm a woman during that week. I'm about to cry
You
because
getting mushy?
I'm getting mushy. I'm getting mushy. Well, honestly, though, it didn't help that I was literally talking with Julie about a scene from a television show earlier, and just talking about it, I started tearing up real bad and getting
Mm.
all, yeah. So I'm stuck in that mode. So, but as we know, we were supposed to have band number 2, but somebody extended it for another 75 days. But you know what?
No, I
It's
don't buy it. It
changed.
doesn't matter.
It's changed over there. Nobody trusts the platform anymore. So I'm very happy that we made the jump when we did. And we're just going to keep on doing it.
Yep.
Keep on keeping on is what we do. It's who we are.
Yeah, absolutely. And Stavros says in the chat that there needs to be a tissue emoji for Discord for me. Like, we got French toast for her. You say Dahlia in the Discord, you get a French toast emoji. Izzy is going to be a tissue.
What about me? Usually I'm the one that makes y'all cry.
You do make us cry.
I mean, honestly, I think just having a tissue emote in general for the Discord would be good.
Yeah. Really, really would. Really.
All right, well, it's my bedtime in an hour and a half, so I say we get the show going.
We get going. All right. This week's prompt was to use this dialogue. I don't know what you want from me anymore, she said, wiping away the tears. I've tried everything. Funny, we talk about tissues. So, our first submission tonight, which I don't know that it goes with the prompt, but here we go.
Got my own stuff going on here, goddamn.
From my middle spawn, Will Kraus Leslie. Deep in the casket. Oh, but I like the view, Shar. My name is Casey O'Connor. I'm a freelance paranormal investigator in the Midwest United States. Our country is on the brink of collapse, and our financial state is in ruins. Thus, I rarely charge for my services unless there's a well-off customer who does not need such excess. Which brings me to today's case. It is currently 23:38 at the beginning of my record of this, so you should do well to excuse me if I have poor grammar. The client today was a set of middle-aged parents in an upper middle-class neighborhood. Classic middle-class white family with a typical life. The wife, Robin, is a nurse, and her husband, Jack, works in an office. Of what kind, I'm not sure. But all offices blur together in that pay grade, I'm sure. Recently, they had lost their child, and out of respect, I shall change their name to something more suitable for this recording. Let's call the child Aspen, a good, gender-ambiguous name that means to quake. Aptly fitting for the individual who in life, I was told, was a timid one. Aspen was 17 years old, a softball player for their high school, and suffered from chronic anxiety. Aspen died about a week ago in a car accident after school. But what else? Their yellow Jeep. According to the police reports, they were speeding and crashed into a tree at approximately 90 miles an hour. The paramedics concluded that Aspen had died at the scene of the crash, and there was no need to call for an airlift. Robin and Jack were permitted to bring home their offspring's belongings by the first responders, including Aspen's jewelry and backpack. They left them on Aspen's bed, and until today, they have left the bedroom untouched. The grieving parents could barely bear to stay in the room with me as I conducted my initial assessment. The pair reached out to me through a business card I had left at one of the hippie coffee shops near the private high school in town. I should know. I leave different contact information on each one. The ones in the ritzy parts of town have an email address and a free phone number through an app. Jack had left me a voicemail on the behalf of them both, sounding quite distressed over the phone. As I drove through fancy neighborhoods to get to their place, I re-listened to his message. He was concerned about his wife and how she was handling the death of their only child. As I am not a grief counselor, I usually disregard such calls, but this one gave me pause. According to Jack, Robin became hysterical if left alone too long, claiming Aspen was coming back, haunting her dreams, and was angry. At first, he didn't believe it, but after 2 days, he noticed that photos would be knocked off the walls and candles would not light. Now, it had been 1 week, and they could hardly stand to go to the upper floors of their home. It did not seem to be my typical gig, since it involved a recent passing. But I've been strapped for cash between 2 jobs, and these people would not miss a few $100s if I solved their problem. I pulled into the impossibly long driveway and looked up at the multi-story house. It bordered on a mansion and was a cream color, with bright new windows and an impossibly clean and well-manicured lawn. Stepping out of the vehicle, I grabbed my bag out of the trunk, and 2 middle-aged adults rushed out to join me. I'm sure these two were Jack and Robin, but I shook their hands, and we introduced ourselves regardless. They walked me through their home, talking about their dearly departed and showing me picture after picture. Uniform pictures, headbands and bows, formal wear, even christening photos. They obviously loved their child and documented every moment. According to the couple, the only photos that would mysteriously fall were ones with Aspen in them, and the only candles that wouldn't light were blue, the child's favorite color. Walking up the staircase, I inquired after Aspen's bedroom so I could begin my search for answers. The couple glanced at each other and brought me to the base of an attic entry. According to Robin, Aspen abandoned their nursery room at 5 and decided they wanted to live in the attic like a character from a book. I climbed a permanent brass ladder, Jack and Robin short on my heels. Upon standing, I noticed just how cozy the teen had made their space. Floral wallpaper had been disguised with bookshelves and band posters that I knew were older than the admirer who put them there. There was a full-sized bed covered in a rainbow tie-dye comforter and a record player with a Nirvana record still laid under the needle at the foot. The windows had nice white linen curtains framing them, and the view of the backyard and woods was immaculate. On the nightstand were a notebook with a glitter pen and a retainer in its case. The phone had been left off and put on the stand as well. Aspen's phone was the latest model and had a bright sky blue gel case. I asked if there was anything off limits for the investigation, and when given no response but blathering about their child, I opened the journal to the latest entry, about 3 days from before the crash. According to Aspen's last documented thoughts and emotions, they were scared. They had been feeling lost about their gender and sexuality and worried if they decided to talk it out with their parents that the response would be negative. Instead of immediately reading aloud, I sat on the bed and motioned Robin and Jack to sit. Robin sat, sniffling into a tissue. Jack did not, instead leaning against the windowsill. I asked them if their child had ever had any boyfriends or girlfriends, and whether or not Aspen had been seeming off for a while before their death. Jack began to speak, but Robin burst into tears again. "I don't know what the girl wanted from me," she shrieked, wiping at the tears with a red face. "I've tried everything." At the outburst, a lamp that had firmly been in the center of a shelf fell against the carpet and shattered. Jack sighed and cleaned up the pieces, and Robin only got more distraught. Clearly, I had just uncovered something of importance. Upon comforting the mother intensely for a while, she calmed down and regarded a tale from about 3 months ago. Robin had asked Aspen when they would get a boyfriend and why they were refusing to go to the social events they had planned out. Robin had even tried to get Aspen a Robin had even tried to set Aspen up with the nephew of a coworker. Aspen had thoroughly refused and then, according to Robin, blew up out of nowhere. Aspen had thoroughly Aspen threw things against the walls, screamed and cried about their mother meddling, and hid in their room for the remainder of the weekend. Aspen even refused to come down for family meals, only leaving the room to use the restroom and for middle of the night snacks. Aspen chopped off all their waist length hair into a choppy pixie sometime in those days and left the hair in the kitchen trash, nearly giving their mother a heart attack. Since then, they had tried everything to get their child to come back to them: new tires for the Jeep, a few new ducks for the dashboard. Jack had climbed up with milk crates of books and vintage records, only to be refused time and time again. The only person that could get through to Aspen at all was their friend, Haley. At this, I asked to speak to Haley, and Robin called her. Through the phone, I learned that Aspen had been dating Haley covertly for about 2 years, since they had met in Intro to Biology. They were inseparable. But Haley's family did not approve of a lesbian relationship, and Aspen was too scared to come out. Robin and Jack had not considered that they could have been dating, and Jack apologized to Haley for their insensitive comments about boyfriends. Haley just asked that her parents not be called and told me that Aspen had been thinking about more than just their relationship and to look in their jewelry box. Then the kids said they were done talking and hung up. I got up to cross the room, and then the room imploded. Books started flying off the shelves, ceramics started breaking, and the record player started full blast playing the chorus of Heart-Shaped Box. Taking cover until the metaphysical tantrum was over, I glanced through my arms to see Robin cowering under Jack. When the flying object stopped, I went over to the player and turned down the volume, yet leaving it on. It was a great song. It wouldn't hurt to play some music Aspen loved. I searched around through the debris until I found a wooden box with pressed flowers covering the surface, protected by packing tape. Turning to Jack and Robin, I confirmed that it was Aspen's jewelry box and proceeded to ask them if they had yet called a priest. Robin insisted she would do it and decided to call their father from the family parish. Jack dusted himself off and came over to look at the contents with me. We opened the box, and it confirmed my suspicions. There were a few pride pins hidden inside, as well as a sign about safely breast binding. The biggest pin was purple, black, white, and yellow, and seemed like it was the most scratched up. Jack asked what the colors meant, and I explained to him that it seems that most of the pins were the non-binary flag. He said he didn't understand, but he would have tried to, as he started to tear up for the first time today. I had yet to see the man cry, and I had not expected to see it. We sat and talked about his most fond memories of Aspen and how he would rather have Aspen in any form than no Aspen at all. When the priest, Father Jacobs, arrived with Robin, we sat them down and talked over what we had found. Robin and Jack asked Father Jacobs to bless the room, and we spoke to Aspen out loud, assuming they could hear us. Since we never found evidence of a chosen name for my records, I will put down their birth name with Aspen in case I get called again. After we acknowledged Aspen out loud and gave them the post-mortem permission to be at peace, the room felt much calmer, and the tension I had not realized was in the air dissipated. I left soon after, being handed $1,000 in cash by Jack in an envelope and a large hug by Robin. They said they would start cleaning up Aspen's room and look into their identity and would try to get involved and help kids that were going through the same thing. I suppose we will find out, as this city is only so big and they are a prominent family. While every family would be devastated if their child had been lost to them so young, it feels as though it is doubly as painful when parents are oblivious to the cause of their child's suffering. I do hope and pray that Aspen truly has found peace wherever they are, and I will update this report with any further notices. Well, it is 2 a.m, so I must get some sleep. KC, signing off. Supplemental. It has been 3 months since the day I assisted Aspen's family, and since then, they have been rebuilding their lives. Jack was recently seen passing out snacks and water at the Pride March, and Robin has decided to go back to school to focus on mental health counseling.
Haley has since come out to her parents, and while I am not sure if it went well, both her new girlfriend and she have been unofficially adopted by Robin and Jack. I stopped by to leave some violets on the grave, and the headstone has been adapted to have no first name, only beloved child in its place. It has rainbow stones inlaid into the face and had at least 3 bouquets in the stone urn before I placed mine in. Suffice to say, Aspen will always be loved.
Uh-huh.
I'm not gonna even bother asking if you're okay, Izzy. It's clear. And I can understand why the writer didn't want to be present.
In the last couple of weeks, as my child has been out there protesting and getting involved, I've had some
Yeah.
of his fellow protesters who don't feel it's safe to go home quite yet hang
Yeah.
out, spend the night.
Mhm. You've got an amazing kid,
I really do.
and I
And
know how that can be scary in this current climate.
well, and I had nothing to do with it.
No, but you've definitely helped foster and improve
Genetics.
it.
Genetics.
See, we just in general we need a tissues emote. We just in general.
Yeah, we definitely need a tissues emoji. Possibly, like a hey, like a warning for the tissues emoji.
Yeah.
Things you might just want to like pencil in of hey, look, we gotta adjust that.
But for the record and for all of YouTube, when this gets rebroadcast later. What do you mean you can't write? Because he's on the couch on the other side of the wall. So,
Yeah.
By the way, they're logged in right now. They're
I figured.
hey, there we go. There's my kiddo.
Kiddo, you made your
Don't
uncle
promise
cry.
that. Don't promise that. We like mushy.
We do like mushy.
Kiddo, you made your uncle cry. I'm proud of you.
well, you know what? You made us cry for almost an entire 3 months. I do not want to hear it.
Right? It's your turn.
Nope. I mean,
This is payback, bitch.
I literally,
This
I
is
remember,
payback.
I remember when we first started this, right? And I had to host one night because Julie was having technical difficulties, and that's back when people were coming up and reading, and then people stopped having interest in reading their own stuff. And I remember our lovely Trisha Trisha took the Strings of Fate.
Strings of Fate.
And while everybody's was very, very good, Trisha's being the shortest because, she grips us in as few words as
That's her
possible
style.
and just takes our fucking hearts and squeezes them. Read her own out loud that night. And I wish we would have back then thought about recordings, saving the recordings, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Because I was deep in the throes of it, right? Because I was still grieving the loss of my father, and the story was just The story was that. It was great. It had me in the feels. And
It was raw. It was emotional.
uh-huh.
It did all the things. It checked all the boxes.
It did all the things. And Trisha reached out to me privately afterwards. And yes, I'm putting you on the spot, my dear, because felt bad for making me cry. So I created a
does,
PSA.
apparently.
I created a PSA video that is still pinned to the top of my TikTok profile. Hashtag make Izzy cry. Right? Hashtag make Izzy cry. Make Izzy continue to feel something. Because as long as I'm feeling things, I'm still alive. And
fair.
when those are passionate things and I can still feel I'm not dead inside, please remember this was like shortly after my dad died, my marriage imploded, and I moved into my dead hoarder dad's house. Okay.
Yeah.
And I could still feel something. So I wasn't dead and buried along with everything else. And so yeah, go ahead. Make us cry. Make us cry. Make us feel something. Make us angry.
And there has been plenty of times that Izzy has read my stuff that will never be put out on air. But the reason it won't be put out on air is because it's literally going to be published soon. So it's like, but Izzy's read the back half of one chapter because she needed clarification. So I gave the freaking clarification. The only problem is that was not the clarification that she wanted because she spent 20 minutes crying her eyes out.
It just made it worse.
Uh-huh. We read because we want to feel. We read because we don't want to deal with reality or I'm sorry, but dystopian should not be sitting in current events. So,
even if it is current events,
we don't want to do that. So, once again, the creative gene is strong in the Kraus line. Just saying. And speaking of our lovely Trisha, guess who's up next? Oh, you didn't hurt me, Trisha. You didn't hurt me. You reminded me that I'm alive. All right? That's a separate thing entirely. It was little more than a week before the wedding when there was a loud crash in the middle of the night. Joe and I jumped out of bed to find out who or what made that noise. When we got downstairs, we saw that the front door was busted in. Okay, hold on. If I don't find out more about Aunt Betsy and her comeuppance,
It's gonna be a different kind of hurt.
there's gonna be a wiffle ball bat style kind of explanations. Just say.
How the hell did that happen? I asked.
No, keep going.
Just then, an elegantly dressed woman walked in. I had a rather strong friend to open your front door. Open? Your friend destroyed it, I yelled. She waved her hand dismissively. You can get it fixed. You are strong enough to do that. I started to move toward her and Joe stopped me. Aunt Betsy, why are you here?
Breathe.
Tuning up the haymakers.
I came to save you from the demon you are being tricked into marrying, she said, looking at me with disgust. Joe sighed. Aunt Betsy, you need to leave. He moved in between her and I. I am willingly marrying Anne. She is the love of my life. Well, then you give me no choice. She waved in one of the largest men I have ever seen. George, grab him. George started moving toward Joe. I decided to move in front of Joe. I will not let you take my future husband, I growled. He charged at me, probably thinking he could just toss me aside. But when he grabbed me, he didn't expect me to fight back. We fought while Aunt Betsy stood in shock. It didn't take long for me to knock George out. I grabbed his legs and dragged him out the busted front door. When I came back, Joe and his aunt were arguing. I don't know what you want from me anymore. She wiped away her non-existent tears. I have tried everything to get you away from that demon. Stop calling Anne a demon, Joe yelled. She changes into an animal, she yelled back. There is nothing good and holy in that. Joe's face turned so red it was almost purple. Aunt Betsy, there is nothing evil in Anne shifting into an animal. How can you say that? She asked. It's not natural. Joe sighed in frustration. Because I shift as well. I am a were-jaguar too. What? She asked as she backed away from Joe. Anne and I are were-jaguars, he said. Oh my God, she corrupted you, she said. You all right, Jules?
Sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm mute.
She was still backing away from Joe and backed into me. She turned to face me. I smiled. Actually, he was bitten years before I was attacked. Her eyes got huge. You are both demons. She ran out of our house, leaving her friend George just laying on my porch. We called the police and they came to pick up George. They went to find Aunt Betsy. She wasn't very far away by the time they got her. Turns out Aunt Betsy's friend George is one of the head guys of the local were-hate groups. His arrest caused a lot more arrests over the next few weeks. The craziness of that night melted to the background as it got closer to the wedding. The night before the wedding, Joe went to stay with his brother Cody. I was laying in bed, just staring at the ceiling. I rolled over and grabbed my phone and texted Joe that I missed him. I miss you too, he texted back. Why are you still awake? I can't sleep. Did I wake you? No, I was awake before you texted me. How long have you been awake? I asked. Only a little while. Had to use the restroom, Joe answered. I didn't need to know why, LOL. Sorry. It's okay. I will let you go back to sleep. Try to get some sleep, Joe said. Please? I will do my best. I loved you. I love you, I responded. I love you too. I put my phone down smiling and tried to go to sleep. Dun dun dun.
While I would have preferred it was Aunt Betsy who was laid out, that was still satisfying.
That was Yep. I would have much rather the character of Aunt Betsy get her face
Yes.
smashed in. Okay? Not promoting human on human violence or any way, shape, or form, but she's a character in a book. Just say.
Also, Izzy, which mic are you using right now? You sound
Let me
tinnier
double
than
check.
last week.
Let me double check here.
Last week you were like butter.
Not the right one.
There we go. That's better.
There we go.
I would have mentioned earlier, but I didn't want to interrupt the stories.
You're good. You're good. I just got to double check and remember before going live, I have the right camera, the right mouse, the right mic, the right keyboard. Although this next week I am picking up another laptop, and Julie had a very awesome idea that it's a dedicated
Mm.
HMP.
Meant specifically for the Twitch stream. Yeah, that we don't have to keep fucking with the settings anymore.
I don't have to quit fucking with the settings anymore. All right. That, what, once again,
So satisfying with so little.
yes. And of course,
Although something tells me Aunt Betsy's about to make John's life a whole hell of a lot worse after this.
oh, I just,
Maybe. Or maybe she's going to end up in a weird prison.
That would be ideal.
that would be very much.
Just saying, that's a just dessert and a half.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Okay, everybody got their tissues?
Oh boy.
Which
Who's up
literally,
next?
who do we always say gotta grab your tissues?
Mm-hmm.
This time you want to grab your fisticuffs.
Oh, who we fighting?
I love how Trisha goes, Julie, hush. I'm like, what? What did I stumble on?
Ooh, yeah. What did we stumble on? I mean, we are dealing with book 4 in her series, which, by the way, all of them are available in the places that you find books. Also has a vampire release this year already. So, just saying, there's an established world here. Oh, then she's going to be all cagey in the comments and go, I can't tell you.
Yeah, that tracks.
That tracks. All right, so next up we have P.A. Power, author of the Chimera series, Kingdom of Shadows, Decoding Shady Pines, and the upcoming Jed and the Wolves of Desire. And now, yeah, there it is. And now we're watching Work in Progress, a gargoyle story.
Heart of Stone.
Heart of Stone. Amanda woke to the shrill drone of her alarm clock and the sharp thud of a high-heeled shoe slamming against the wall, missing her head by mere inches. The heel left a dent before clattering to the floor. With a sigh, Amanda picked it up and tossed it out the open window. Bitch, that was my shoe. What the fuck is your problem? Bethany shrieked from her bed, voice laced with irritation. Bethany, you can pay for the dent and your daddy can buy you more shoes. Amanda shot back, gathering her toiletries with practiced efficiency. Bethany tilted her head, her tone suddenly saccharine. Amanda? Whatever you're about to ask, the answer is no. Amanda cut her off, hurrying toward the communal dorm showers before Bethany could press further. The shower room was ghostly quiet. Setting her things down, Amanda turned the faucet, letting the hot water cascade over her body. Steam rose, thick and comforting, reminding her of morning dew clinging to the fields back home. For a brief moment, she allowed herself to relax, savoring the solitude. Amanda sighed in relief as the warm water cascaded over her shoulders, soothing away the morning stiffness. She had hoped for a few moments of peace before facing another day at the academy, but the moment the door creaked open, an unwelcome chill ran down her spine. Bethany. Amanda, who the hell do you think you are? Bethany's voice echoed through the tiled space. It'll only take one call, and I can have you kicked out of here before the day is over. Amanda froze, fingers tightening around the towel she had draped over the shower stall's divider. She heard the sharp click of Bethany's heels against the tiled floor before the girl's voice rang out, sickly sweet and laced with malice. Well, well, enjoying your last bit of luxury before reality hits, Amanda. Bethany drawled, leaning against the wall as if she owned the space. I have to admit, I admire your nerve, thinking you belong here. Amanda exhaled slowly, refusing to turn around. She focused on the water streaming down the drain, determined not to engage, but failed. Amanda didn't flinch. I'm not afraid of you. I don't care who your daddy is or what strings you think you can pull. This is my time, and I won't let you ruin it. Now get the hell out. Bethany's smirk widened as she reached out and snatched Amanda's towel from its hook. Oops, she said mockingly, holding it up as if inspecting the quality. You know, a little humility goes a long way. Maybe if you ask nicely, I'll give it back. Amanda's grip on the metal divider tightened until her knuckles turned white. The thought of standing there, vulnerable, while Bethany gloated, was almost unbearable. Heat flushed her cheeks, but she refused to give the girl the satisfaction of seeing her flustered. Why do you all do this to me? Y'all give me this one nasty little character that just makes me want to hit a wall and because violence against people is not okay. Bethany twirled the towel around her manicured fingers. Come on, just a little. Please, Bethany, have mercy on me. It's not hard. Amanda inhaled sharply, fighting the urge to snap back. Instead, she turned, keeping her posture rigid, her chin high. I don't beg, she said evenly. Bethany rolled her eyes. Suit yourself. With a careless toss, she flung the towel into a distant puddle on the floor, the fabric instantly darkening with moisture.
Bitch.
Amanda clenched her jaw, the sting of frustration prickling at her skin. She took a deep breath, then stepped out of the stall, keeping her movements deliberate and steady. Without hesitation, she reached into her locker and pulled out the spare towels she had kept for emergencies.
Oh, she was ready.
Amanda emerged to find a crowd gathered. Bethany, front and center, phone raised. Look, everyone, Amanda is a nudist, Bethany crowed. Mock horror crossed Amanda's face. Oh no, how will I ever survive? She deadpanned, rolling her eyes. Bethany, you're getting predictable. With a shove, she pushed past the disappointed crowd, ignoring their murmurs. Bethany's lips curled in annoyance, but before she could retort, Amanda was already walking past the others, head held high. Back in her dorm, Amanda quickly gathered her materials for class. As she approached the building, the security guard, Stephen, narrowed his eyes at her. And who do we have here? He drawled. Amanda exhaled sharply. Amanda Winter. Amanda Winter. You know, the name on my birth certificate? Also on my student ID? I've been coming here since the start of the year. Maybe if you paid attention to someone other than Bethany, you'd actually be good at your job, Stephen. Stephen frowned but didn't respond as Amanda brushed past him, heading toward her first lecture of the day.
More than one person seems to have it up for Amanda, and I want to know why.
I know. Oh, keep your evil machinations to yourself, Patrick.
Don't sit there tapping your fingers like you're fucking Mr. Burns. Don't be. No.
No. No.
No, I'm not no creepy old guy. No, thank you. I may have just had a birthday, folks, but come on now.
I mean, to be fair, I like Mr. Burns, so it's kind of a compliment to come from me, but you know.
Professor Lynn scanned the room, her gaze sharp and unreadable as she took in the rumors of discontent. She had anticipated resistance, but she wasn't one to back down from her choices. Miss Winters, she called, her voice cutting through the noise. Your work has consistently demonstrated innovation and dedication. That is why you've been selected for this study. She had barely taken her seat when Professor Lynn approached her desk. Don't be nervous, Lynn said quietly. I need you to come with me for a moment. Amanda stiffened. Yes, Professor? Lynn glanced around, ensuring the other students were occupied. I want you to look over some old texts. You have a way with the material in the lab. So, have you given any more thought to joining my research team? Amanda blinked. Out of all the students, she had been chosen? A mix of surprise and pride surged through her, but it was quickly followed by a sinking dread as she felt Bethany's glare boring into her skull. Amanda hesitated. Professor, I have a full schedule, and I need to find a job. This is a job, Lynn reassured her. My husband is helping fund the project, so you'll be paid for your time. We need someone with your skills to help transcribe these ancient texts. Not to mention, we'll cover lodging and transportation to the castle.
That's
Bet,
a hard yes from me right there.
Now, where do I sign up? There's a castle.
Where do I sign up?
I mean, honestly, as long as they provided food, I wouldn't even need to pay.
Professor, Bethany interjected, her tone dripping with exaggerated politeness. Are you sure about this? I mean, some of us have been working towards this project for years. Amanda is new. It hardly seems fair. Several students nodded in agreement, their whispers swelling in volume. Professor Lynn, unfazed, raised a hand, silencing them instantly. Fairness is determined by ability, not seniority, Miss Ravensdale. Amanda has earned her place. Pardon me.
I like this teacher.
I like this teacher. I like this teacher a lot. Amanda swallowed, forcing herself to keep her expression neutral, even as Bethany's lips curled into a sneer. Earned? Please. She just got here. What could she possibly bring to the table that the rest of us haven't already mastered? Amanda's eyes widened slightly. Wait, you got permits to explore more? A boy from the far side of the room cleared his throat. Actually, Amanda's approach in the last project was pretty unique, he said hesitantly. I mean, it wasn't conventional, but it worked. Amanda shot him a glance, surprised by the unexpected support. But the moment was brief, as Bethany turned on him with a withering look, silencing him before he could say more. Enough, Professor Lynn said, her patience wearing thin. Amanda's participation is not up for debate. If anyone has concerns, I suggest they focus on proving themselves rather than questioning my judgment. Lynn's lips curled into a knowing smile. Surprisingly, the moment I mentioned you'd be assisting, all the red tape disappeared. I don't know why, but you've been my good luck charm. Bethany sat back, arms crossed, a storm brewing in her eyes. Amanda, though rattled by the confrontation, forced herself to sit taller. She wasn't going to let Bethany intimidate her. Not now, not ever. The battle had only just begun. Amanda exhaled slowly, considering. Something about this felt too easy, like doors were opening for her that shouldn't be. And yet, something inside her stirred at the mention of the castle, a pull she couldn't quite explain. All right, I'm in. Lynn beamed, giving her a brief but excited hug. She then turned to the front of the class. Everyone, before we begin, I have an announcement. I am pleased to share that Amanda Winter has been selected as the lead in the study of the castle. I'm pleased to announce she has accepted the role. She impressed not only me, but also the castle's caretaker, who personally requested her involvement.
Okay, I need to know who this bitch is. What is going on?
And the diva has shown up to show her support.
Oh yeah, my diva's here too. You see the little foot.
The little paw sitting up.
Yeah. I'm in the loft. It's really hot up here, so she's lazing.
Hello, Maggie Mayhem. Yeah, I know you're gonna knock something over. We'll use that.
Oh, is that the one That's the one you wanted to send to me, right?
This is the one I wanted to send to you.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. I have a
Continue.
narrator companion here. Okay.
You've been narrating familiar.
A hush fell over the room, quickly followed by an outburst. What? Bethany shot up from her seat, her face red with fury. That's ridiculous. My father donates more money to this school than anyone. If anyone should be leading this study, it should be me. Poor people like Amanda don't belong here, let alone in a leadership role.
Oh, this bitch. No. No.
Excuse you?
I got choice words, but I'm pretty sure they're not cleared for Twitch, so I'm gonna keep them to myself.
You can tell them to me in Discord. But
Mm.
try to save my eardrums, please.
Professor Lynn's expression darkened. Bethany, sit down. This decision was made based on merit, not money. Bethany seethed, fists clenched. Oh, trust me, Amanda. You won't last long here. I'll make sure of it. At the very least, I'll have you kicked out of my dorm room. Enjoy it while it lasts. She stormed out, slamming the door behind her. Amanda
Wait, she just
remained
left
still.
class?
Amanda remained still, unfazed. A small, satisfied smirk played on her lips. Guess we'll see, won't we? Bethany, fuming, grabbed her soda, shook it up, and aimed it. Not at Amanda, but at her laptop. With a cruel grin, she popped the tab, drenching the device in sticky liquid. Tossing the empty bottle into the trash, she strutted out without another word. Amanda rushed to her laptop as the screen flickered and flashed. Strange images appeared, ancient text, faded drawings, and then suddenly the distorted face of a woman. Something about her seemed eerily familiar. The screen glitched, ending on an image of a well before a final screech, fizzle, and pop silenced it for good. Damn it, Bethany! Amanda screamed as she lifted.
You call her Maggie Mayhem for a reason.
We do. We really do. Ma'am, I'm trying to read. For the people! You're interrupting the show. What do they say in Hollywood? Never work with kids or animals?
Yep.
And yet, what do I have my house full of? Kids
Both.
and animals.
Yep.
All right. Damn it, Bethany! Amanda screamed as she lifted the ruined laptop, soda dripping in a steady stream. Stephen marched up, gripping her elbow. Excuse me, but we don't take kindly to students damaging school property. You're coming with me. Take your hands off of her. Now. Professor Lynn gritted her teeth. Whoa, Professor, stay in your lane. I got my orders from the dean's office. She's accused of more than just this. Amanda's mouth fell open in disbelief as she was dragged from the room, the sound of laughter and whispers filling the hallway. In the adjacent office, muffled voices drifted through the door. Accused of what? She's doing her homework. She's doing her shit. Like, Sir, we gonna talk. Bethany sat stiffly in her father's study, the dim lighting casting deep shadows across his stern features. Lord Ravensdale leaned back in his leather chair, fingers steepled as he regarded his daughter with cold calculation. You assured me this wouldn't be an issue, Bethany, he said, voice smooth but laced with an unmistakable edge. Yet Amanda Langley remains. And now she's being handpicked for one of the Academy's most prestigious projects. I don't know what you want from me anymore, Bethany whined, wiping away the tears. I've tried everything. Bethany's fingers curled into fists on her lap. I don't understand it either. Professor Lynn should know better than to. Professor Lynn sees something in her, he interrupted, his eyes narrowing. And that, my dear, is a problem. We cannot afford an outsider meddling in our affairs. Bethany swallowed, feeling a flicker of unease. She had always thought of Amanda as a nuisance, an obstacle to be crushed underfoot. But the way her father spoke of her, so methodically, so decisively, made it clear this was more than just family pride. There was something deeper at stake. Do you hate her, Bethany? He asked suddenly. Bethany hesitated. Did she? Or was it more about proving herself to him, earning his approval? She's a thorn in my side, she settled on, and an embarrassment to the academy. The dean studied her for a long moment before nodding. Then you'll do what needs to be done. This is bigger than your rivalry. I need Amanda gone. Permanently. Bethany straightened. What are you asking me to do? Whatever it takes, he replied smoothly. Find a weakness, exploit it, and make sure she doesn't have the opportunity to rise any further. Bethany's heart pounded, but she nodded. If this was what it took to prove herself, she would see it through, no matter the cost. But I've tried everything. Really? If you tried everything, that trash wouldn't still be here, a deeper voice replied. Bethany, you need to make her quit. Your mother expects results, and you know as well as I do, she always gets what she wants. Dun dun dun.
Patrick, what the fuck are you doing?
I
What
will
is
admit,
going on?
I admit there was a couple typos in that. It was supposed to be she slammed the closet door, not the door, because she's getting something out.
First draft. It's a
Rough
first
draft.
draft. It's fine.
Rough draft.
And it's Winters, not the other lane. I was going between two
I'm
names.
I
I'm
thought.
more focused. I'm more focused on what is going on with Bethany and her father.
So,
Who is apparently a lord and the dean?
so remember, this is like they're in Ireland, so they're going to a
Yeah.
castle. So you can be a lord of a section of land or a
Oh sure.
lady
I've got a
of.
friend. I've got a friend who's a lady because she owns like 1 square foot of land.
So because of their rich heritage and their money, he is a lord.
Mm.
And he's happened to be a dean of this academy that his daughter's at. And they're investigating a castle which has connections to the beginning of the book.
Oh, I
Yeah, I
figured
figured there was
that
connection.
much.
I figured.
I figured. I,
Thank you, Stavros. This is a brutally genius idea.
yeah.
And if you were here for the first, well, chapter one, the dream scene, the
Hmm.
face, the familiar face, the
Yeah.
well, there's a reason why she is selected by the caretaker. And you'll find that out very soon. Now, do not shake that up and aim it at my laptop. I ain't got the money to buy a new one.
Why would I ever waste Dr. Pepper willingly?
Right.
Come on now,
Depends
bro.
on how mad I made you. Wait, how many
No.
more days is it? How many days is it left?
I don't remember, and I don't remember where I saved it.
It's like 80 something days. Maybe,
No less than that.
maybe into like 70 at this point.
Yeah, so I ordered stock of Peter Pan story, hard book and paperback. Now I just gotta get the money for Chimera Wolf until I rewrite that and put it solely under my name because I'm over Atmosphere.
Mm.
Yup. Okay. Whew. Whew.
See, at least I didn't make you cry this time. Keyword this time.
This time, same story, different thing. I don't know. I understand that there's this whole move. Everyone likes the bully romances and things like this. And obviously this particular bully is not a romantic interest. Okay. But I don't know. I just bullies need taken out and spanked.
You're not wrong.
Just saying.
And I believe Stavros said something about her glaring at him. She glanced at him. She didn't glare at him. She's probably looking for the fact that she wasn't expecting support. Because remember, she's the poor girl. She's there on a scholarship.
Look, Stavros, I mean, like, we love your love and support, but you're willingly sticking around. So I don't know if all the blame is on Patrick here. I'm just saying. All right, and of course, next up, C.R. McCormick. Are we ready to Are we ready to hurt?
It's it's not pirates this week. It's something entirely new. I threw a little short story at you.
I see this. However,
Yeah.
I see the word medium, and instantly I get heart palpitations, okay? Because mediums in stories, okay?
Well, you got 34 minutes, then I gotta go. So.
Willow held her breath, watching anxiously as the medium wove a wandering path through the massive house. Her eyes followed the slowly swaying pendulum that hung from the woman's ring finger, and felt her heart speed up in time with the pendulum's increased movements. The medium was mumbling to herself, too quietly for Willow to make out what she was saying. Deeper into the house they moved, the medium following some invisible trail only she could see. Willow realized with dread that they were heading for that room, the one she couldn't bring herself to enter, the one that chilled her every time she walked by, that had her hand trembling each time she reached for the knob. Maybe the medium would have the courage to actually walk inside, and Willow would finally learn what was in there, would finally discover what it was about that room that had her so uneasy she couldn't even bring herself to open the door. Right on cue, the medium made another turn down one of the countless hallways and came to a stop as soon as she saw the aged but well-maintained oak door that Willow had yet to walk through. Her mumbling grew louder, more agitated, and Willow hung back, waiting at the mouth of the hallway as the other woman made the long, terrifying trek down to the foreboding door. She took a small amount of comfort in seeing the medium's hand shook as hard as hers had as she reached for the crystal knob, but unlike Willow, she actually managed to turn it and open the door. The door swung open with a long, groaning creak, and in its wake the rest of the house fell eerily silent, as if holding its breath. Willow's breath stopped as well. her hands clasped together tight enough to hurt as she watched the medium, waiting for her to enter the room to tell her what was in there. Her fear grew as the medium remained where she stood, staring into the room with a blank look, an odd glow from the room illuminating her expression. Willow could feel it even from here. That strange tug at her that seemed to pull her towards that room. Now even stronger with the door open. Something calling her into that room with such strength that it left her frozen. Too scared to see what was in that room, the very house itself wanted her to see. A strange sound rose up through the silence, the hissing sound of static seeping out of the darkened room, growing louder by the second until Willow's ears ached. Both women remained frozen until the door slammed shut with a bang that echoed through the entire house and jolted Willow from her shock. By the time she regained her senses, the medium was breezing past her, making a beeline for the front door. Willow chased after her, panic overtaking the fear. Wait, hang on, what happened? What was in that room? Where are you going? You can't be done yet. I'm sorry, Miss Morton, but I think this is beyond me. Whatever is in this house is very unhappy to have me here, and I think it's best that I leave, was the only explanation the medium gave before she rushed out the door, leaving Willow standing alone and abandoned in the quiet house. All the frustration, terror, and confusion of this last month welled up in her at once, and Willow dropped to her knees with a sob, burying her face in her hands. Countless nights of waking up to disembodied voices arguing in the next room that proved empty when she investigated, to every TV in the house being on despite her being the only one who lived there. Endless days of finding weird shapes and unintelligible writing smeared in the dusty surfaces and fogged glass, or missing items despite her being certain of where she'd left them last. Despite dousing everything in salt and holy water, reciting countless prayers and incantations in every language she could find them in, and even going as far as bringing a spirit board into the house. What the fuck? Not a part of the story, just my instant reaction to spirit boards. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
She found no answers as to what was going on. The spirit board, in particular, had been a terrible failure. She'd gotten as far as the planchette spelling out HIT before she'd panicked and gotten rid of the entire thing. It currently sat on the porch, and she swore now and then she could still hear the wooden pointer skating around on the board. Nope. Nope. No. The voices returned in that moment, though they were no longer in the next room. Willow could hear whispering so close it felt as though it were directly into her ear, hissing softly at first and growing in volume with each second, louder and louder until she could barely make out words. Next. Go. Change. Please. Now. What do you want from me? She demanded, her voice cracking. I've tried everything. Exhaustion and lack of sleep compounding with the fear and pushing her quickly into anger. This was supposed to be an exciting part of her life, a gift left from her great aunt. This huge, beautiful 200-year-old house was supposed to be her ticket to a life free of stress. No more worry for rent and a nice little nest egg for bills until she got herself sorted. Instead, she'd been tormented from day one by whispers from every corner. Vanishing remotes and dishes, rearranging furniture, and constantly shorting out electronics. Little things that she'd thought were easily ignored instead had grown worse and worse by the day, until she found it impossible to function. She'd even tried leaving offerings, burning food scraps, pouring out alcohol, lighting candles. Ignoring it hadn't helped. Appeasing whatever was here hadn't done anything. Cleansing had been a waste of time, and now her attempt to communicate had only resulted in the medium running for her life. Willow was at a loss of what to do next. The floorboards themselves shuddered in that moment. The walls shook and vibrated, and every light around her flickered, shorting out repeatedly, plunging her into darkness over and over. Books didn't just fall from the shelves, they were flung across the room. Vases crashed to the floor, and the hutch in the hallway full on skidded several feet to the side, leaving deep scratches in the wood. Willow let out a scream that started out terrified, but morphed halfway into a yell of pure frustration and anger. "Just tell me what you fucking want!" she raged, shoving herself to her feet. Her aggravation over everything propelled her forward, towards that room she hadn't been able to enter. Letting the house pull her forward, moving at a speed much faster than she could normally move until she stood in front of that door. Once more. Her hand grabbed hold of the crystal knob, and the instant her fingers touched it, the house fell silent. Sorry, the house fell quiet. Everything stopped all at once, dropping off so suddenly it was disorienting. Willow's head spun, but it was clear the house wanted her in this room, and if that's what it took to put an end to all of this, then fine. Twisting the knob, she fought back a shudder at the loud creak that came from the hinges and pushed it open. Staring into the darkness that lay inside, that strange glow from inside illuminated a small collection of furniture. 2 couches and a matching set of armchairs all circled a television, which was emitting that creepy glow. Shelves lined an entire wall, and a worn carpet covered the hardwood floor. Latching onto the last shred of courage she had left, Willow stepped in further, squinting to see the details of the room with only the television to light the interior. Nothing stood out to her. No answer given for whatever was haunting this house wanted her to find. Moving towards the TV, she frowned when she realized there was a DVD menu playing, stuck in an endless loop while next disc flickered on the screen. Nope, 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 nope.
Where's my sage?
Yeah, right, Stavros? Sell the bloody house! Her breath hitched as she saw the spirit board she'd left on the porch was currently sitting on the coffee table next to an empty popcorn bowl. As she stared at it, the planchette started moving once more. HIT, just like before, but this time she didn't stop it. EJECT NEXT DISC. Are you kidding me? Willow asked to the air, her fear crystallizing in that moment and shattering into 1,000 pieces with the realization, replaced quickly by shock, which then shifted into true, proper anger. Are you fucking kidding? You've been tormenting me for over a month now, all because you want to keep watching your show? Willow was inches away from putting her foot through the TV, but she knew that'd only result in a trip to the hospital. Instead, she began grabbing up the dusty DVD cases, grumbling angry to herself. "Like hell, I'm going to be your fucking nanny and put the next season on for you," she snapped, shoving the cases into the box set and heading for the door with it. The door immediately slammed shut, and every electronic in the room went wild. Items came off the shelves and tables and actually started flying in circles around her. The furniture squealed as it dragged across the floor in order to slam into the door and prevent her from leaving. Okay, fine! Willow yelled, dropping into a crouch and hugging the box set against her chest to protect herself. I'll start the next season! Just stop! And just like that, the room was quiet again. When Willow dared to lift her head, the furniture was all back in place, though the deep gouges in the floor proved she hadn't imagined it. Letting out a trembling sigh, she returned to the TV and loaded up the next DVD with shaking hands. She reached for the remote and flinched when the popcorn bowl slid across the table towards her. The absurdity of it broke her from her fear, and she sighed heavily. Seriously? Popcorn too? Do you even eat? When the bowl pushed closer, she snatched it with a growl and stormed off to the kitchen. The doors all opened for her without her having to touch it, and she watched the microwave hum as the kernels popped and jumped around, trying to comprehend the ridiculousness of the entire situation. Deciding that if she were going this far, she may as well go all out. She grabbed up a few more snacks from the pantry with some extra bowls. Returning to the TV room, she soon had a full spread set out, boasting the popcorn, sour cream and onion chips, sour gummies, and chocolate-covered peanuts. Setting a giant thermos of cola on the table with a thunk, she braced her hands on her hips. Good enough? Sure you don't need a blanket to snuggle, too? She demanded, and rolled her eyes when the remote was pushed towards her. Snatching it, she hit play with more force than necessary and watched the DVD finally start playing. The very atmosphere itself seemed to settle, and Willow began to warily creep backwards towards the door. When no fuss was made, she stepped out and shut the door behind her. Now, when she walked through the halls, it felt like a perfectly normal house, warm and almost comforting. She found herself standing in the entryway by the stairs, admittedly overwhelmed by the change in how the house felt. For the first time in a month, she slept through the night without issue and woke up nearly 14 hours later, well rested and now starving. She headed for the kitchen but paused in the hallway. That heavy feeling was back in the air, that weight that had haunted her when she'd first shown up. Suspecting she knew the cause now, she headed for that room, pushing the door open just enough to peek her head in. Yep, the DVD had finished and was now cycling through the menu again. Sighing lightly, she shook her head. I figured. Hang on. Walking over to grab the next disc, she frowned when she saw it was the last one in the series. Lifting her head, she looked around the room. What do I do once this one is done? Do you guys just keep watching the same show over and over again? A scraping sound came from behind her, causing her to jump, and she turned to see another DVD box set had been partially pushed from the shelf. That explains the vast collection, she grumbled, walking over to see what show was on the slate for viewing next. Oh, hey, I like this one. Haven't watched it in ages. Looking towards the TV once more, she debated something before smiling. Once you guys finish your current show, can I watch this one with you? The multiple empty bowls all skidded across the table towards her at once, and she laughed sharply. Of course I'll bring snacks again, don't worry. Returning to the TV, she started up the last disc of the show they were currently watching and shook her head as she gathered the bowls up to take them to the kitchen. Who'd have thought ghosts like sour cream and onion chips? Dun dun dun.
How you doing, Izzy? You and Stavros seemed a little stressed during that first half. You okay?
Holy fucking shit. Is my heart still there? I don't know.
I wanted to take a stab at subverting expectations.
Oh, expectations were subverted. Oh my god.
Oh my god, watching Stavros lose her mind in the comments has been so much fun.
I looked over and like Stavros is typing in the chat
Wall.
everything
Wall.
that my brain is thinking. I'm like, I don't even have to stop reading because Stavros is handling it for me.
Yeah, it turns out that comment about her not getting rid of the Ouija board right, did not do it correctly. You were correct. She did not. Yeah, they want to keep watching their show. They want to watch the stories. Her great aunt would watch shows with them, and they were in the middle of a season when she died, so they wanted her to keep watching. Are you sweating? You look sweaty.
I can't tell if it's the perimenopause or it's my blood pressure going through the roof.
I this isn't the way I wanted to tell you, but I don't want to keep posting Scoundrel on here anymore because I'm almost done it and I don't want to give any more spoilers. So I figured this was
That's
this was
absolutely fair. Because I remember Patrick wanted to put in some things and go, well, there's this scene. I'm like, no. Don't put the whole book out here. Put the thing that you're currently working on or the scene or whatnot. If the prompt that week helps you build out a scene, great. We don't need the whole thing because you need to make money.
right. And I know you guys said that you were gonna buy the book anyway, even if you ended up reading the whole thing, and I fully believe you. But I want there to be some surprises for you. Still.
I need a trophy to go with the rest of my C.R. McCormick and Julie DeFisher and P.A. Power collection happening
See,
over here.
my problem is I want an original McCormick.
Oh,
So I just gotta figure out how to get that from across the border.
could do author plates.
What's an author plate? Is that like the stamping plates? Is that like the stamps that you do on the embossing stamps?
Okay, did you ever get those paste in like book plates that said from the library of and you would put your name in it and put it in the front of the book?
They were literally just ink stamps for me for those.
Right. Okay. So if somebody were to, let's say, not have an ink stamp or an embosser or whatnot, like it was a common gift, could do even that. And on the backside, put something on there because that's easier to mail, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right. So if somebody were to buy your book and then were to buy from your website or whatever, an author plate, they could ask for it to be customized, etc. You can get, then mail them the card. They then put it in with the book. On top of that, I've also seen where it's like a nameplate that you would paste into the front of a book, which was a common thing in the 80s and probably earlier. In fact, I have
so then
some
so
here.
Then the signature ends up inside the book.
Right, because you would wind up sending it to the person in an envelope instead of having to pay massive amounts of actual postage for the book,
right?
And they paste it in the book.
And it would give me an excuse to do some artwork of the characters too.
See, exactly. Just thought process. bookmarks. Ooh, sorry. I just belched
But
it.
yeah, I figured this was a good chance to stretch my legs a bit, try something new, go with a different genre I haven't done in a long while because I am doing a scary stories collection. So this was a little glimpse into how I write scary stories. But then I also wanted to like take a hard left at the end and make something absurd instead.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay, and so moving right along because we are running out of time.
I'm actually gonna hop
You're
down
gonna
now
hop
because
off.
I've got like 10 minutes left and I still have to eat dinner. I didn't eat before I got on here, so I'm starving. Yeah, I didn't want to be late.
Why? I
Well, look at me.
was.
I ate. I ate.
Yep, we did.
But I will absolutely catch the rest of the show later because
Absolutely. And
I need to hear everybody else's stories.
there's nothing saying maybe, I don't know, maybe not video, but listen in on the Twitch stream.
Yeah, if we have enough of the solar left over that I'm able to hop in and actually catch the rest of it, absolutely. But right now I'm just kind of focused on eating because there's homemade pasta downstairs that I really want.
There you go. Go eat the pasta.
All right, I love you all. I will see you next week.
All right. So next up, Dahlia.
Oh no.
Dahlia Mac. Dahlia Mac. Dahlia Mac. Oh wait, did I just pull a Bloody Mary? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. All right, and this is entitled What Will Be, Will Be. We bit frightened because that means something different to Dahlia's brain. Oh, trust me, Dahlia. Earlier today I was saying something about I saw some more crafting supplies. Like I need more crafting supplies. Like I need a hole in the head. This entire room is filled with crafting supplies. But they were these clear sheets with blood splatter on them. And Will was like, what do you need that for? I go, journaling? Like put a window over? Like, right? And she's like, but it's blood splatter. Y- And I go, yeah. And I didn't say it at the time, but I read mystery, murder mystery, thriller, vampire. Okay, there's plenty of uses for blood splatter stationery. And I go, Dahlia? Like I wind up getting my hands on a Dahlia published work that is all this, and then I read it and then I'm gonna put it in my journal. Perfect space for blood splatter. And he was like, what? I don't I don't know. I don't know if I would like it. And I go, hey, remember the Narnia style wardrobe where somebody came out and lost a hand when the jewelry box thing slammed shut? He goes, "Oh yeah." I go, "That's Dahlia." He goes, "Oh, yeah. I like her stuff." So, there we go. There we go. All right. So, what will be will be. I wish we had saved it. Absolutely. Absolutely, Dahlia. We didn't think about that back then, but that's okay. We evolve, we grow, we change. Nobody stays stagnant. A house with no way out, no windows, no doors. I roam around the house in a daze, the concept of time lost to me. How long have I been trapped in this place? 7? No, 10 years, I think to myself, staring at the wall. Words filled the wall, but I don't know what they mean. I once knew what these words meant, for I was the one who wrote them. Dragging my hand over each letter, the words are no longer part of my reading vocabulary. I try to sound out the words, hoping a memory will come back to me. But nothing happened. One word pops out to me more than all the others. The only word I still remember how to say. The word was the biggest, circled, highlighted, and had stars and arrows all around it. My name. Of all the years trapped in this hellscape, it is the only word I remember the spelling as well as the ability to say it out loud. I grab a marker and move to a different room with drawings all over the walls. With the marker, I start drawing objects that I once knew the names to. The only thing left for me from the outside world is my speaking, so I speak all day, rambling about nonsense, having conversations with myself and remembering how to say as many words as I can, trying to keep my vocabulary alive. I am afraid with each passing year I lose more and more. My words are spoken, yet I am not able to remember the meaning behind them. I don't know what else you want from me, I said as tears flowed down my face. I have tried everything to escape, and I've given many years of my life here alone. Why can't I leave? Please set me free. I will do anything to be free once more. Dun, dun, dun.
Always these little bites. These little bites. Not even bites. They're samples of a sample.
It's literally a crouton.
Thank you.
A crouton. Not even croutons on a salad. It is a crouton. What? The... No, that's... hold on. Please hold. There we go. That was weird. Apparently, I was still streaming also in the Discord. Right, Stavros? I tell you what, between DVD watching, all I could think of was The Ring. Literally, and I've never even seen the movie because I don't do that. And then we go from that to Dahlia's being trapped in a room with no windows, no doors. I don't know. I think my claustrophobia might be coming back, and the sweatshirt is just a wee bit too tight. Oh. Ooh. I don't know what y'all are doing to me. I don't know what you want from me. I've tried everything. Oh, sorry. Was that our prompt for this week? All right. Now, I know Stavros has been under the weather, but a couple weeks ago, Stavros sent in a bonus and we didn't get around to it. Ended up reading it the next week and didn't get the so we've been a little bit behind on Stavros. So hey, and there's Kesh. Yeah, I know. To bring me kicking and screaming into the things. So wait a minute. Here's the thing. I don't think Stavros remembered to attach the file. It was the email entitled Promptcast Ether. There's nothing there.
You mean she's being a tease?
Yeah. Granted, this was designed for last week's live, I think, or maybe this week's. Okay, be right back. BRB. So that means we are to a non-prompt submission from Kesh.
Um,
The ghost could have deleted it. So we've got a extra story here. Not. Uh-oh. And it's called A Day in the Life of a Princess. Suki Daniels walked into the university gym, heading straight for her locker. She unlocked it, threw her book bag and helmet in, and grabbed her sports bra, tank, and shorts. She changed and threw her regular clothes in on top of her bag, hanging her silver moto jacket on the hook inside the narrow space. Grabbing her MP3 player, her arm pouch, and headphones, she locked the locker and left to go do her jog. She stopped at the water fountain, took a few swallows of water, and walked back out the doors to the grassy patch in front of the building. She stopped and placed the pouch on her upper arm and then slid the tiny MP3 player in after plugging the headphones into the jack and turned on the music. Placing the buds in her ears and cranking up her favorite band, Blasphemous Angel. The harsh, dark music began to filter into her ears as she began to stretch and ready herself for her jog. She paused for a second, facing herself towards the sun, just soaking in the rays and breathing in the humid Florida air. The thermometer said it was 101 degrees, and the humidity felt so thick that you could almost swim through the air. Suki loved it like this. She loved the warmth and the moisture kissing her skin. She began her jog, heading towards the track that circled the small lake on the back end of the property of the state-owned university. She went for a while, not seeing anyone, and then she saw the man in the thick down parka. It was so unusual and out of place on that hot August day, and it made her do a double take. The thick down jacket had thick jeans and winter boots covering almost every part of the man's body. On top of it all, his hood was pulled up and practically tied shut. The sight was so confusing that Suki decided to keep tabs on the guy and report him to campus security once she had circled back around the track. Lucy will never believe this, she thought to herself as she pushed forward and decided to add some speed sprints to her jog as a challenge, all the while watching the bright yellow parka and where he was going. She circled back around to where she had started her lap and looked at the clock on her MP3 player and decided that one lap was enough for the day. She looked up and noticed that Parka Guy had disappeared. Crap, she said under her breath as she walked back to the gym building. She had decided she was still going to report it to campus security, just because of how out of place the guy was. Suki re-entered the building and went straight for the showers, pulling her hair up and disrobing, turning the hot water up as high as it would go, enjoying the steam almost more than the hot water hitting her bare skin. She just stood in the water and breathed deeply, thinking about what she needed to do the rest of the day. Talk to security, measurement and sample taking in the herp lab, ATM, poker night. She needed to remember to buy beer before heading home, an offering to her roommate and best friend, Lucy, somewhere on that list. She finished her shower and wrapped a towel around her, the strong smell of bleach coming off the fabric. She then walked out to her locker, spun the combination in, and pulled the door, throwing her regular clothes back on and pulling her jacket and book bag back out of the locker and throwing her dirty gym clothes back in. She made a mental note to make sure to bring a couple of clean sets to leave behind in her locker and take the pile of old ones home to get washed. She made a disgusted face as a whiff of reptile hit her nose. She needed to figure out where the smell was coming from and how it followed her. She was always careful in the lab, so she had no idea how the smell was following her. Suki opened her backpack and pulled out a new can of strong deodorant spray, practically hosing down her locker and then doing a quick spray down in her armpits before tucking her t-shirt into her jeans, zipping them up and buttoning them. Throwing the new can of body spray into the locker, she closed the door, spinning the lock and securing her ridiculously dirty laundry. Her walk across campus was pretty uneventful, She pulled her flip phone out of her bag and checked for any messages. She had one from Lucy and one from Dan, one of the other managers at the bar she worked at, sending her the bar schedule for the next 2 weeks. Lucy, girl, don't be late. Suki, I won't. Gotta finish some stuff at the lab and get some money and beer. Stop stressing. Lucy, whatever, Spooky. Go play scientist. Suki chuckled at her friend's reply and placed her phone in her back pocket. She came up to the lab building, which was also the building that held security and maintenance. Security was the floor above the herpetology lab, so it was a convenient stop. Suki went through the automatic doors to the building and walked down the hall to the elevators and pressed the call button. Suki! Dr. Charles Chuck Nicholas. Fucking Chuck. The adjunct in charge of the lab yelled across the first floor lounge. Damn. She put her best bartending face on while screaming internally. Hey, Chuck! She forced a smile. Heading up to the lab? He asked as he stopped next to her. Yeah, I need to go talk to security about something I saw on my jog that I thought needed to be reported, she replied, looking up at the lighted numbers above the elevator door, each ding of a floor seemingly taking an eternity. I'll be heading into the lab after that, she said, turning her head suddenly, her heavy ponytail whipping around as she quickly stepped on into the opening elevator. All right, see you up there, Sue, he said as the elevator doors closed. Suki relaxed her body and dropped the smile from her face. She was still a little upset with Chuck because of how he handled one of her fellow master's students on their last research trip to the Everglades. Gabe, the guy who had been making her life a living hell, trying to get her to go out with him, should have been expelled from the program and the school after what happened. But it ended up only getting academic probation for the next 2 semesters because of the possibility of ruining a promising future. The elevator opened up on the 5th floor, and she stepped out into the hall and then headed to the security office. She walked up and knocked on the door. It's open, a pleasant female voice answered. Good, it's Liz, she thought to herself as she opened the door. Liz was the head of the day shift for campus security and the easiest to talk to. Hi, Liz, Suki said, greeting the other woman. Hey, Suki, what's going on? Everything okay? The security guard asked. Well, I'm not sure. I saw something odd when I went for my jog earlier and just wanted to bring it up to you, she began. Oh? Liz replied as she pulled a pad of paper from a drawer in the desk she was sitting at. Yeah, so while I was running the lake, there was this guy dressed in a yellow parka, like head to toe dressed for cold weather. It just seemed off. Suki shifted on her feet. It felt like something was in her right boot. She made a mental note to check what it was when she got down to the lab. Oh, really? Just a sec. I had a call in from one of the other buildings about a man in a yellow parka walking around. She pulled a sheet of paper from one of the plastic file trays and took a look at it. When were you jogging? She asked. Probably about 45 minutes or so, I think. Maybe around 11:15. Suki leaned against the door jamb and crossed her arms. She was starting to get a little concerned. Okay, if I get another report from anyone, I think I'm going to call LPD and to help get him off the premises. Right now, he hasn't done anything. But with it being hotter than Satan's ass outside, it's definitely a huge flag that something is up. Can I get your number if the police need to take a statement from you? She asked as she started writing things down. Yeah, sure. Suki rattled off her phone number for Liz, who wrote it down on the page she had started with the notes about her jog. Perfect. I'll give you a heads up if they want to talk to you. Oh, yeah. What's your last name again, Suki? Liz asked. Oh, it's Daniels. She watched Liz write the rest of her name down. I think that's all I need right now. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Liz said pleasantly, ending the conversation. You too, she said as she turned, closing the door behind her. She headed back down the hall and decided to take the stairs down to the 4th floor. She walked up to the door of the lab and opened it, walking in and stopping at the cubbies in the wall where she placed her backpack. She then walked to the hooks on the wall where the lab coats were all hanging and grabbed hers, replacing it with her jacket. She pulled the lab coat on as she crossed to the far side of the room, where a series of large tanks were nestled into the lab wall. Each tank was on a shelf that pulled out, so that whatever was in the tank could be reached. These were her babies, all the alligators that she was monitoring with her research fellow in China, who was doing the same thing with a group of Chinese alligators. Both her and her partner, Dr. Zhang San, had 6 of each species they were studying, comparing notes with each other once a week. Suki was still waiting for her genomic samples to come back so that they could compare and figure out the subtle differences between the two species and why Chinese gators weren't bouncing back as easily as the American gator had in recent years. They hoped to one day have a special captive breeding and release program for the endangered gators that would hopefully bring the species back from the edge of extinction. Suki pulled one of the babies from their tank and put a band around its mouth to keep from getting bit. She pulled a pair of calipers and began taking measurements along various points along the baby gator's abdomen and tail, then moved on its front and hind limbs. Next, she pulled out a piece of string from the drawer under the table, pinching the frayed edge to the alligator's snout, then ran it along to the base of its skull, base of its tail, and tip of its tail, writing the measurements down as she went. She then flipped the hatchling over, stroking it along the middle of its throat area, effectively hypnotizing the small reptile. It was out, and she was able to grab several other instruments she needed with both of her hands, and then continued taking measurements and noting her findings. She paused, noticing that the skin on the back of her hand was looking paler than normal. I need more sun, she said to herself aloud, jumping as the door to the lab opened. Please don't be Chuck or Gabe. I am not in the mood today, she thought as she closed her eyes and she turned to look to see who had come into the room. She sighed in relief when she opened her eyes. Hi, Amy. Suki acknowledged the other woman who had just entered the lab. Your gator is about to walk off the table, was her initial response. Oh, hi, Sue. Suki turned back around just in time to catch the little creature from jumping off the edge of the table. She evidently hadn't hypnotized the little guy enough. She collected the gator in her arms and walked back towards the wall of tanks. Halfway across the room, the creature decided to relieve itself on the floor in front of her. She deftly jumped, avoiding getting sprayed in the process. Oh, Gatorade on the floor. Watch your step, she announced. Bruh.
That's one way to announce it.
Amy looked up, nodded, and then went back to her paperwork she had been going over. Have you met our new guest? Amy asked, pointing to the 10-foot wooden box in front of her. Her specialty was constrictors and pythons. Nope, 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 nope ropes, nope, nope, nope ropes. Everybody's just trying to make my heart explode today with my blood pressure just going through the roof. I mean, it could have been something else. 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 I'm not even Catholic, okay? Just saying. Okay, I know that snake emojis look cute. I get that. But they're nope ropes. They are legitimately nope ropes. Do we understand, Izzy? Thank you. Okay. the invasive species that were wreaking havoc in the Everglades. LPD brought it in last night. They busted some drug dealer's house and found a Reddick, she explained. Suki looked at Amy in surprise. A reticulated python? How big? And I thought the state mandated they be destroyed when found, Suki asked. Her file says 10 to 15 feet, but there's a note that it may not be accurate, Amy said as she giggled. Temporary or permanent? Suki's interest was piqued. Not sure. My guess is that it's temporary, but who knows? She'll eventually have to be euthanized because of the law. She shrugged and then continued. I could be wrong, though. You never know with Chuck and his procurements. You know it, Suki agreed as she fastened the lid to the baby gator's tank. She walked to the sink and pulled some paper towels and grabbed the bottle of sanitizing solution, walking to where the gator had pissed and began cleaning the spot. After she finished, she walked back over to the sink, threw the towels and vinyl gloves into the trash, finally washing her hands. Would you mind giving me a hand so I can get a proper weight measurement? I really hope she's not too big. I really don't want to have to call Chuck up right now, Amy said, reflecting Suki's distaste for the adjunct professor and his handling of the situation with Gabe. None of the women in the department had any respect for him anymore. No problem. Suki bounded over, brimming with curiosity over the new animal in the lab. She walked over to stand next to the box, pulling up the sleeves of her lab coat as she did, and began to help Amy remove the clamps holding the lid. As soon as the last clamp was removed, the lid popped open and the snake pushed out one of its muscular coils, which dropped like liquid flowing out of the box. Oh, crap! Think fast! Amy exclaimed as she ran around the corner of the box and jumped, placing both her hands around the center of its body. Amy began to drag the snake out of the box and onto the floor.
Negative, Ghost Rider. Negative.
Suki prepared herself, grabbing the snake's head once it came out of its prison. The snake's head was about the size of both her fists balled together. Crikey, this girl is huge, Suki exclaimed in her best Steve Irwin impression as Amy started pulling the snake across the floor. I wouldn't be surprised if she's 20 feet. Poor baby, Amy said, looking at the snake's tail. Or what should have been the tail. Is she okay? She looked over, concerned what was going on. I can't tell if it's intentional or not, but she's missing almost her entire tail, she said as she held up the snake's rear, indicating the blunted end. Suki guessed the snake could have easily been another foot or two if it had its tail. It looked like an old injury. Suki looked down at the snake's eyes, feeling bad for the abuse the animal was probably put through. She noticed that her ocular scales had started getting a milky cast to them. Amy, looks like she's going to be shedding soon, she commented to the other woman, who looked up and nodded and then went back to examining the snake's rear end. Looks like this may have happened a long time ago. Just by her size, she's been around at least 25 years or so. I'm pretty sure it happened when she was small. I wish people would be nicer to their animals. She shook her head disapprovingly. Can you grab that ball of twine off the table and roll it down to me? Keep the loose end. I need to get some type of measurement. Maybe I can figure out how big she should be. I could get a better guess at her age then, too. Amy talked through her plan out loud, half talking to Suki, half to herself. Suki grabbed the ball, trying to get a good grip with one hand and reaching with the other. Whoa! She felt the snake flex, pulling itself from her grasp, and doubled back on itself and started moving to go after Amy, who was busy examining the animal. Amy, heads up! Suki yelled, trying to get her attention. Amy looked up, a look of horror on her face as she realized what was happening. Faster than she thought possible, Suki jumped, grabbing at the snake's head again, breaking its focus on Amy and redirecting to her. It struck, its mouth wide and clamping onto her arm just below her elbow. It's not a fear, Kesh. It's a huge uncomfortableness. Um, um, it's not spiders. Um, it's not spiders. Oh, that should be a disclaimer. If you're writing about spiders, you need to put a disclaimer because it struck, its mouth wide and clamping onto her arm just below her elbow. She gritted her teeth as she felt the tiny pinpricks of the snake's recurved teeth dig into her skin. Her arm felt like it had caught on fire as the python clamped down and started to try and coil its body around hers. Suki groaned in pain, its jaws feeling like a vice clamped onto her arm. Suki! Amy finally released the snake's tail and scrambled to help her remove the python from her arm. She repeated what Suki had done earlier and wrapped her hands behind the snake's head. She felt the snake's lower jaw separating and the two separate halves moving up and down as Amy massaged its jaw. Her intent was to get the animal to want to release its bite. If the pain hadn't been so intense, she would have found the sensation of the jaws moving fascinating. The snake finally decided to give up biting Suki, and Amy jumped into action, dragging the snake quickly back towards the wooden crate it had come to the lab in. She began to shove the animal back into the box. Suki managed to push past the pain and stand up to help her with her good arm, and they finished pushing the python back in and replacing the lid. They both sat on top, holding it down while the snake tried to free itself again. Amy began to quickly place the clamps back into their places on the edges of the box as Suki laid across the top, cradling her arm to her chest as the bacteria from the snake's mouth burned beneath her skin. Hey, Sue, let me get that taken care of for you, Amy said calmly as she went to the cabinet by the door that held the first aid kit, pulled it out along with some of the extra bandages on the shelf and the bottle of peroxide. She began to clean up the blood oozing from the wound the snake had made. Amy jumped back up and ran back to the cabinet and got a towel to place under Suki's arm so she could pour the peroxide over the torn skin. Suki laid down across the top of the box, trying to calm her breathing down and slow her heart rate. She knew the routine whenever this happened. She got hurt, they gave the first aid, life went on. Fuck! Suki exclaimed in pain as the bite began to burn more from the peroxide solution. We should have called Chuck, she whimpered. I know, Suki. I think you should get to the hospital. Do you want me to take you? The snake did a number on your arm, Amy said as she examined the bite. No, not right now. Just wrap it up and I'll get it taken care of, Suki replied and held her arm up in the air for Amy to continue caring for the injury. You know, Suki, I've noticed the past several times stuff like this has happened that you have been barely bleeding. I think you might want to get tested to see if you have any hereditary clotting disorders. She motioned to the floor where there was hardly any blood. Suki looked at Amy, then thought about what she had said. That was the exact reason she hated going to the hospital when shit like this happened. The doctors always said the same thing. I'll be fine. I know when I need to see a doctor. I just need to catch my breath, Suki said as she continued to just lay there and breathe. After a few more minutes, she sat up and jumped off the crate, walking over to the wall where her stuff was hanging. She began to remove her lab coat carefully over her injured arm and hung it up on its peg. She then picked up her jacket, helmet, and backpack and ran down to where her bike was parked. At the same time she entered the stairwell to go down, the man in the yellow parka from the lake stepped off the elevator. He turned down the hall, headed towards the herpetology lab. Amy looked up from her workstation as the door to the lab opened again. Uh, yes, Stavros, that is correct. However, unbeknownst to our prompter viewers, this story takes place not right now. Uh, this part of the story is when we were still putting hydrogen peroxide on fucking everything. Yeah.
Here's the kicker. I still put hydrogen peroxide on everything. I mean,
Well, some of us just know what works. But there are certain instances, like what Stavros is talking about, where depending on the injury.
well, yes, but now they've classified on what you're supposed to use the hydrogen peroxide on and what you're not supposed to use hydrogen peroxide on.
My child heard my distress and brought me ice cream.
Robbie got me ice cream at work last night because they were selling it. And I'm like, well, how are you supposed to keep that cold before you get it home? And because Robbie works around vats of CO2, he stuck it off in the CO2. It is still completely frozen. It's going to take a day or 3 before I can eat my ice cream.
Right. Whew. Okay. According to this, we are on page 7 of 8. So we are almost done with this, and we can do Stavros's, and then we will be done for the evening. And on to the rolls. All right.
On to the rolls.
On to the rolls. Forget something, Sue, or did you change your mind? She looked up in confusion when she was expecting Suki, but saw a man in a thick down parka. Who are you? She asked, standing, looking at the new arrival warily. Suki Daniels? Came the stranger's response, his voice sounding like fire if it could talk. No. Suki left a little bit ago, she responded. She started to bend down towards her phone on the desk. I think you need to leave now. I'm going to call security if you don't, she explained, picking up her phone. Extinguish. The stranger's voice hissed, removing the glove he wore, revealing a hand that was made entirely of fire. Amy screamed, bolting to the door closest to her workstation. She slammed the door, locking it to keep the fireman away from her. The door exploded into the office, throwing splintered wood towards where she was hiding. The stranger was engulfed in fire and walking towards her, touching as many things in the room as he could, lighting things as he went. Smoke began billowing through the room and out into the lab. The stranger's clothes fell on the floor in front of where Amy was hiding as he disappeared. She got up and began to run out of the office into the lab proper, grabbing a fire extinguisher and trying to suppress the flames with it. The lab sprinkler system kicked in, helping to put out the flames and creating more black, billowy smoke, which Amy began to breathe in. She began coughing and started staggering towards the door, crawling by the time she reached the other side of the room, passing out as she reached the hall. Dun, dun, dun. Yep. I guess our prompters are just trying to make my hair go pure silver so I have an easier time dyeing my hair. That's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm seeing. I just. First, it was the baby daddies slash husbands that were making me go white. Then it was the teen to young adult children, and now it's the prompters. Just we're just gonna go straight gray, straight gray. Love you too, sis. I do, but y'all are. You call that gray?
I hide it well.
Dude, I've had patches of gray hair since I was 23. Okay, catch up, little brother.
I
Then
don't
you
want
can
to.
complain.
You can't make me grow up.
Okay,
Because
Peter.
I'm a Toys R Us kid.
I wasn't even thinking that. I was thinking more like had to learn, have to crow, have to fly, have to fight.
This is so very true.
No, I'm a Toys R Us kid. I
Um,
don't want to grow up because if I did, I wouldn't be a Toys R Us kid.
yeah, yep.
And now Toys R Us is no fucking more, which pisses me off regardless.
But really funny is there's an alcohol store in my where the Toys R Us used to be, and they've kind of taken the giraffe, and he now has a wine glass.
I mean, fair.
Poor Jeffrey. But then again, after all the kids he's seen in his lifetime, he might need that glass of wine. I'm just saying.
And I don't quite think it's a small glass either.
Well, he's a giraffe. It better not be.
I mean,
Logistically, that wouldn't work.
right? Refresh. All right, Stavros, my dear. It's not in that inbox.
Google be Googling.
Google be Googling. Refresh.
Oh, no, that's adorable.
Refresh. What did I miss? Smart Jeffrey.
Yeah, this is actually in the actual old Toys R Us building.
That's great. That is
That's
great.
exactly where Toys R Us was at Oakview Mall. That was the Toys R Us building across the street from the Oakview Mall. And, well, it's wine, beer, and spirits, and it's got Jeffrey on the front.
There. I don't know what it was doing. Now we got it. Now we got it. Okay. SP Stavros. Last submission of, well, last reading of the night. This has been fun. Even without a lot of them including the prompt. I mean, it was about 50-50. But scaring the pants off Izzy, you know, we're going to chalk it up to perimenopause and not, hot flashes or fear or anything else like that. She shook her head as she tried to find out where Farron was. Last she remembered, fatigue had overcome her. In the last few months, Farron had been reporting on a case of people disappearing. According to sources, their bodies would be found untouched, but they had died with no idea of cause. It's still in there. A hand reached up to her face to push away her hair from her face like Farron had done 1,000 times, except her hand wasn't there. Neither was her body. It was then she realized the space around her looked like an endless calm sea, excluding the man standing across the way from her. He stood a few feet taller than her with dark hair and broad shoulders. Why was she able to see his body but not her own? The man glared at her with enough venom to burn a hole if eyes could catch fire. What do, you bark-sniffing sprite? What did you do, you bark-sniffing sprite? That's a new way to call somebody a tree hugger. The man barked. Farron scowled at the man. Then she realized his eye color was different. His ears were rounded and his frame was larger than average. His eyes had a yellow tinge and his canine teeth were more pronounced. A shapeshifter. They were supposedly from another place, but condemned to death by her folk because their greed couldn't be trusted. Nothing, you overgrown dog, she snarked. The man's eyes narrowed. And why would I be an overgrown dog? He gritted his teeth. Farron rolled her eyes as she tried to imagine her body popping out a hip and folding her arms with attitude. She couldn't feel her body, so she had no idea what it was doing. Isn't that what all of you shapeshifters are? There was a reason you were banished from our lands. Was he truly that dense he forgot their history? He snarled at her. Oh, sure. Let's talk about the banishment. He gestured air quotes. You know we weren't banished. How can you banish people from a literally different realm? That's like trying to remove a fish from the desert. It wasn't supposed to be there in the first place, the man yelled out. She scoffed. Farron had heard from their history books just who was at fault. If it wasn't true, why would they put it in the history books? I know Stavros is trying to say something with that, but sure, doggy. She rolled her eyes. His eyes darkened at her flippant attitude. Then the world around them began to shift. What had been a calm sea before rapidly changed into large waves moving from the two of them. Farron's stomach dropped out when she met the man's eyes, only to be met with half a wolf. Her ethereal body moved back as a yelp left her. What the hell is wrong with your face? She thought. She pointed at him, but her body was still not visible. Don't point your magic at me, you hippie, he yelled out as he ran off. Farron chased after him in driving anger. What magic, you oaf? I am invisible, she screamed out at him. The half-wolf, half-man froze in his tracks and turned to her. I can very clearly see you, his semi-morphed eyes wide. Farron furrowed her brow and her eyebrows in confusion. Yeah, what do I look like? She insisted. Short black hair like mine, blue eyes, pretty body. He trailed off while staring at her body before shaking his head. The man quirked an eyebrow. Farron felt a rock plummet through her stomach, leaving her hollow. No, that's not what I look like. She felt hands grasp her head. Farron pulled them away, glancing at nothing. Again. She paced short and frustrated steps. Then the water waved around them again. Hey, can you stop whatever you're doing over there? The man yelped as he struggled to stand up in the waves. I'm not doing anything, doggy, she called out with a piercing squeal. It's Khan, he yelled out. What? She turned to face him. My name is Khan, he said. Farron turned around to examine the world they were in. There was a clear lack of plants and land, but it was disconcerting how much she was not feeling a need for sustenance. She didn't even feel the chronic pain in her heels or knees from the constant demand of wearing heels. What are you expecting? If you tell me yours, I'll tell you mine thing? I'm not obligated to participate. Her tone incredulous. A dark cloud rolled in as her frustration continued to build. Khan's hands flew to his ears just before a flash and roll of thunder and lightning hit between them. Farron's hands flew to her mouth as she realized the connection. Stop, 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 she yelled out over the noise to Khan. She took a deep breath and calmed her raging emotions. The storm clouds rolled away until nothing but the rocky water was left. It's our emotions, Farron's voice wobbled. Khan's eyes widened as he glanced to the endless horizon the storm started at. He took a moment to close his eyes, and suddenly his face returned to normal. The two of them concentrated on being calm, cool, and collected, while the water slowly returned to normal. After a moment of silence, a light shone between them as they moved closer, instead of being just out of earshot. Inside the light were two views of two people. At first, it was blurry, and vague shapes drowned out by the light until Farron's face came into view. I know that's mean, but who is that? Khan asked. That's me, Farron said. Khan glanced at her. Okay, but clearly she's not because you look different. Farron stared at him in annoyance. Clearly something is off here, she deadpanned. Khan stared into the light more. She saw herself laying down in a bed. It didn't look like hers, likely a hospital bed. It couldn't have been that long since she moved to the ether. The realm was not talked about much among her people. Many believing to talk about it was wishing death. Some of the devout to the Creator thought it was a stopping point between going to hell in order to repent. She hadn't been all that religious. Her parents were far more interested in making her into the perfect little doll. All her life, Farron grew up hearing how her mother had waited 7 years to have a daughter. 7 years of trying over and over, ending up with 3 boys and 2 girls. She had been the older daughter, with the expectations and desires of her mother heavy on her shoulders. The difference between her and her mother was the amount of faith she had in the Creator. Farron took on a more free spirited approach, trying to live as morally as possible, asking for guidance when absolutely needed. But her mother took on a very different take on religion. In her mother's opinion, her inner voice on anything and everything was the Creator talking to her. If she was cycling into town and came across an aggressive dog or a man riding a horse past her, Farron's mother would burst out into loud, obnoxious prayer. Okay, but why do you look different? Khan asked. How was she supposed to know? She hadn't been black-haired ever. She had been a redhead as long as Farron could remember. Her mother even used to be one, but eventually it wore off. Likely because of the phase conflict with the elves, so she couldn't purchase the glamour. It was like a light bulb burst in her mind. A glamour. But why did she need one? And how long had she been using one? They could come in any form, too, so it would be hard to narrow down. The glamours could be bought in a powder puff case, perfume bottle, lotion, shampoo. It would prove difficult to find the source. Farron met Khan's eyes. It was a glamour. Her tone grave. It wasn't illegal to use one, but on official papers, your original look had to be recorded. Farron had always been recorded as a redhead. Her government papers had no mention of glamour use, meaning this had been happening for a long time. But why? Khan's eyebrows furrowed. What's that? Farron glanced down at the light and saw a doctor enter with her mother. It changes someone's appearance, she said. Khan squinted at her. Why didn't you think of that before? A note of suspicion in his voice. Farron rolled his eyes. Why would I automatically assume I had been glamored most of my life? Are you really that sadly cynical you would question your life so easily? She folded her arms, indignant. Khan rubbed the back of his head sheepishly. I guess you have a point, but why didn't it cross your mind? He grumbled. Farron sighed. The same reason it wouldn't cross someone's mind if their parent was a serial killer. It was just so far out, the likelihood seemed improbable. It's not like it would be easy to purchase. The Fae have been in conflict with the elves for a good 1.5 decades. The glamour would have to be refreshed every month. It would be tedious and risky to obtain, unless it was absolutely necessary. A long pause stretched out between them as Khan and Farron watched the doctor leave her alone with her mother. Oh dear, what has happened to you? Her mother's voice came through the light clearly. An eyebrow arched in surprise. She hadn't expected to hear anything from the other side. Then the two of them intently watched as her mother rubbed a lotion into Farron's physical arm. Farron's eyes stared unblinking as a wave of magic from the glamour covered her. It was astonishing to see in front of her. She had never knowingly watched a glamour put in place, and now she was rethinking all those times her magic had acted up. Her mother whispered into her ear before scurrying out of the room like the flames of hell were on her heels. Yo, what are they doing to my body? Khan yelped, dragging her attention to Khan's unoccupied body. Farron watched as two doctors in strange blue gear carried a gowned Khan into a room with circular lights. The table was metal, and a cart of small syringes lay off to the side. What kind of room is that? She asked. Khan glanced at her, his gaze a bit panicked but incredulous. You don't know what a surgery room looks like? What year are you from? Farron stared at him, black-faced. 1813. Khan's face grew slack-jawed as the realization set in. Oh, God, you don't even know what a meme is. His tone grave. Oh, blank face. Blank face, not blackface. Okay. Was it... Oh, God, you don't even know what a meme is. His tone grave. Was it something important to the growth of civilization? He waved his hand as if to dismiss the current subject. We can talk about that later. First, we need to do something about this. He pointed down to the light. Farron's eyebrow raised. Why? Maybe you hurt your head while unconscious. Khan shook his head fervently. I totally didn't, because I am on a no surgery list. Shapeshifters can't undergo surgery because we self-heal faster than the doctors can fix it. Khan chewed on his fingernail. What are they even doing? Farron muttered to herself as she watched the surgery. People Khan claimed as doctors moved their medical devices over Khan's body. They struggled to cut through his skin, and the minute the doctors did, his skin healed. Farron watched as a plant was stuffed into a cut piece of skin. He yelped as the plant slowed the skin from healing. That's straight poison. They could kill me. He pulled at his hair. Farron watched in rapt awe as the doctors forced Khan's skin to stay open and then ripped open his chest with metal scrying tools akin to a witch. Then his body began to convulse. She gasped as her hands reached out for Khan's. They are placing a curse on you, her voice shrill. Khan's eyebrows furrowed in confusion. I mean, they might as well be. If they don't stop toying around with my body, I could be permanently disabled, he said. Farron's heart plummeted. What type of witches are they? Where are the doctors? She glanced back as the so-called doctors held down Khan's convulsing body. Those are the doctors, he stated. Farron's head whipped to meet his gaze. Surely not. No doctor would place a curse on a patient. Khan stared at her, unblinking, before face-palming. Of course she would think that. He muttered under his breath and sighed. This is modern medicine of the future. They are likely trying to harvest my organs. Farron glanced back at the vision before them. But why would they do that? Surely it would confuse the new owner of the organ, she said. Khan glanced at her before shaking his head, muttering something about archaic practices. Farron couldn't seem to grasp why these witches or doctors would take the organ out. What organ are they taking? The two of them watched as a large needle was taken and injected into the middle of the spine. Then another was taken and injected into the heart. Why are they removing liquid from the heart and spine? Could they be trying to take your soul from your body? How could they do that while you are here, anyways? She asked, the question spiraling in her mind. Farron glanced at Khan's face, only to whip back to seal his pale complexion. It's far worse than harvesting organs that would only reject the donor. They are trying to analyze my healing abilities, his tone shaken. How can they do that from a needle? Wouldn't they paralyze you doing that? Her tone growing panicked. Khan met her gaze. They take the sample and look at the cells of my spine and heart. Cells? She asked. Millions of invisible servants in the body, working endlessly. They have different jobs and purposes. The heart is living, breathing stone that's able to rebuild whenever needed. If the doctors cut the heart, the workers rush to repair before the blade has left. The workers would force their invisible pitchforks against the blade, claiming it as a threat. The spine servants would be threading any injury immediately. The spine, made up of bone and threads of life, constantly repaired before it can be changed. If they removed a bit of the spine sample or heart sample, it would disintegrate into nothing but dirt. It can't survive outside my body for a second. We can't be used for transplants either. His long explanation filled Farron with acute horror and fear that the doctors would put his body through such a horrifying procedure. The explanations swimming in her mind barely processing the information. Dun dun dun. Yes, Dahlia, that is it. And Stavros, a fever dream of this magnitude is damn near geniusry. Putting together past and present and the whole and oh my god, she doesn't even know what a meme is. I and then her response of going, is that important to the furthering of society, of civilization? Like, that shit is awesome. That shit is awesome. Don't give me this I was sick excuse. A very interesting concept. I Because of course it will. I don't even like Neapolitan ice cream, but I really don't care. I really needed a quick pick me up after everything that y'all put me through. Bullies and mean Aunt Betsy's and snakes and ghosts and Ouija boards, spirit boards, haunted DVD players. Y'all did it to me this week. I don't know about
I can
everybody
honestly
else.
say was not my fault.
No. But
I have been sweet, pure, and innocent. I did not put you through any tragedies.
You gave her bullies this week.
I gave her someone to hate in my book, and that's what she thrives on.
he's a straight up bully. Straight up bullies.
I swear to God, by the time we're all done, Izzy's gonna have a mile and a half long hit list of fictional characters.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. No, let's not have a scare the pants off Izzy competition in October. Oh dear God.
I'm pretty sure by October another one of my other characters will be coming out of the woodwork, and we'll see what happens there.
Oh, Gabe is definitely on there, and Chuck thus far is just irritating and like an unthinkingly crass. Like he just doesn't understand what he's doing, whatnot. From what I've read, obviously there are things that we have not been privy to about Chuck, but he's just irritating, irritating. Wow.
What?
Tonight, just holy fuck. And don't worry, our streams are rated not for children, so you know we all right. So, how do y'all feel about choosing next week's writing prompt?
Bring it.
Slightly hopeful, really nervous. But it's time for the dice.
It is time for the dice. This will be for season 2, episode 15. Due April 12th, 2025.
Let's see if the dice are going to be nice tonight. Okay. We ready?
We are ready. Concepts.
28.
Okay. Write about a person who discovers a secret passage in their home.
That's much like we had one like we had the other day or a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, recurring things, new prompters, new. All right. And down to the second one. A small town has an annual tradition that no one talks about. This year, a new resident tries to uncover its dark secrets.
Sound like a dream I had one time.
Uh-oh. I'm feeling the gears in Kesh's head just going.
41.
Starting first line.
I love Izzy's book right there.
It was the scent that woke me. Option number 3, starting first line. It was the scent that woke me.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have a 141 on that one?
Mm-hmm. Second starting first line option. He played the game as if his life depended on it, and the truth was that it did.
This is all playing into each other this week. All right, come on.
Use this dialogue.
24. 24.
A lot of low numbers.
Yeah. Which is usually not what the dice do.
I think next week I'm going to switch back to the 100 and see what happens.
Well, actually, next week is shuffle time. It's been a quarter of the new year, so all of the prompts, the use this dialogue, they're going to get shuffled. So it's completely up to chance. It doesn't matter if it's high, if it's low. We wind up keeping it quite a bit random. So we put them all into a randomizer that I found, and then I hit the randomize button, and it reorders them into some random order so that it's constantly refreshed. So between the dice and the randomizer, there we go. All right. So number 24, use this dialogue. You're too good for this world. And the last option.
Oh, shit.
Yep. Do you ever think about what could have been? She asked, voice soft. Or is it easier not to?
Damn.
So, your options for episode 15, season 2, Hold My Pen Promptcast. Due April 12th, 3 p.m. Central Time, to the Hold My Pen Promptcast email, which can be found on our page here. If you know us from TikTok, you know from YouTube, wherever you're viewing this, you can find the links to the Discord, to our mailing list, and the email address to send these to. Number 1, write about a person who discovers a secret passage in their home. Number 2, a small town has an annual tradition that no one talks about. This year, a new resident tries to uncover its dark secrets. Starting first line, 3, it was the scent that woke me. Number 4, starting first line, he played the game as if his life depended on it, and the truth was that it did. Number 5, use this dialogue. You're too good for this world. Number 6, dialogue option. Do you ever think about what could have been? She asked, voice soft. Or is it easier not to? All right, folks, what do we got? What do we got? What do we got?
And keep in mind, last month Izzy used incorporate songs from a era because of copyright issues, so we don't want to infringe on anyone. I'm saying use mythology.
Find some way. I got too close to the camera. That's what's setting it off. There we go. Am I a little clearer now? Okay.
Yes,
There we
ma'am.
go.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. All right. So we have a vote for 6. A vote for 3.
Okay, all you have to do is use a mythological character like
6.
Eros, Cupid, Morgana.
Or allude to would be another one. Reuse parts of the myth.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
All right.
Trisha, what's your vote?
Oh, she voted.
Should 6.
Oh no, I'm talking about Trisha. Dahlia.
Yep. Dahlia, you still here, dear?
Stavros, yes, just be careful. Dahlia says the last one. 6.
6. That one was a good one. I don't know which one of us rolled or did the what. Oh,
This
Moses.
this whole roll, yeah. I'm gonna have so much fun.
Yeah, that's yeah. We,
Mm.
Am I the last one to vote, or who
Yeah.
are we waiting on?
I'm waiting for you two.
Izzy, what you feeling?
I have way too many ideas for the fact that
I mean, technically, we have a majority,
we do.
so we don't necessarily need to vote.
Yeah.
Well, you
Yeah.
still have to figure out what C.R. McCormick wants if you want to include her.
No, the vote only happens for the people that are here, and then it kind of gets placed off in the back.
Everybody else just has to suck it
Suck
up,
it.
Buttercup. So, sorry, I was messing with some settings and wanted to. Hey, Lord Almighty, what is it doing here? I gotta do settings and learn how it works. What there to be a way to reset that? Okay, so here's the end result. I'm getting distracted. Sorry, squirrel thought. I have ADHD. Boop, ba-da-boo. Okay. Use this dialogue. Do you ever think about what could have been? She asked, voice soft. Or is it easier not to? Now, don't forget, try to use mythology, work some kind of mythos story into it. See if Mr. PA Power can catch what you're putting down. This month it's to honor his birthday. Old man. And
42. Woot
woo!
woot.
Of the panelists, y'all still ain't as old as me, so fuck off. Love you. That's how, okay. So we have our prompt for next week. We're going to be the same bat time, new bat channel, right? Have the mythology challenge to try and pull one over on Mr. Patrick in celebration of his birthday. Don't forget to follow us in the places, share it out with people, share the Beacons link with people that you come across. You know, they say that they're stuck, writer's block, whatever. You know, say, hey, if you've got writer's block, you may be interested in this. This is what we all come up with. It's all rough drafts, doesn't have to be perfect. But, you know, we're really just getting the stories out on paper and getting those real live alpha reader type vibe reactions to go, is this a story I want to keep going with? Is this a concept, you know, where did Izzy stumble? Where did I scare the pants off Izzy? Where did I give Izzy a heart attack? And when did Julie's eyebrows just shoot up to meet her hairline? And oh, Patrick actually started paying attention to the screen when mine was red. Okay. Shit. You know, like those are those things that you can gauge live reaction, and it's a free service. You don't have to subscribe if you don't want to, but please remember that on Twitch, if you have Amazon Prime and you hook your Amazon Prime to your Twitch account, you do get one free to you subscription. And you can use it on any creator, streamer that you want. And it acts as a subscription and it starts to make us monetized. We're also going to, hey, by the way, 10 o'clock Central through 2 o'clock Central, adjust your times accordingly. We're going to be doing a body doubling live 20 minute, 20 minute, 20 minute, 20 minute, 20 minutes on doing the work, chilling out, 20 minutes chit-chatting with you in the comments, to do some body doubling here instead of in the Discord. Get our hours up, get our feedback. Maybe we'll hit some of these other writing and reading lives. And people will be like, what's this? What are these people doing? To try and get the word out. Don't forget to sign up for the newsletter if you have not already, except you guys are all of our normal viewers in the comments currently, and you all are already on it. If not, you're in the Discord and you're getting the stuff there. On top of that, the three of us plus Kesh will be at Packin' the Readers June 13th through the 15th are the official open dates. And you'll be able to get some signed in-person copies. If you can come.
I actually will be in Green Bay earlier than that. I'm getting my hotel room that Wednesday that they opened up the block up for us to get. So that way me and my husband can enjoy being around. And while we're up there early, we will be promoting the heck out of the
Packin' the
show.
Readers. Yeah. I'm just saying that the official dates of the event are the 13th through the 15th, but due to other circumstances, BJ doesn't know it yet, but she's going to have some helping hands that she wasn't expecting because
Oh yeah, because we don't come to play. That is one thing that our group is known for. We will cut up. We will have a good time at it. But when we come in force.
prepared to work and help our community. Technically, okay, the three of us plus Cash, we're all Midwesterners, right? We're all right here in, Julie's more south, but she is that tail end of the Midwest area, right? I'm in Indiana. Uh, Patrick is in Nebraska and Wisconsin. Wisconsin is considered the Midwest, and with that, we got to take care of our own. Does it have anything to do with the fact that I am a huge Green Bay Packers fan? I plead the fifth. I'm look. Am I like?
Look, I am not saying anything. I will say this. I am going to be at Lambeau Field. I am going to go down to Lambeau Field. I don't care if we got to walk, taxi, do what the fuck ever. But I'm going to be in front of Lambeau Field to do one fucking thing. To take a picture of me in front of Lambeau Field and be like, okay, I'm here. Where's food? Because literally, I was born in Chicago. I was raised in Wheeling, which is a suburb. And then by the time I hit middle of my 4th grade year, we went to Alabama. And then we came back. I did 5th grade. I went to Wisconsin. I was actually right outside of Eau Claire for the entire summer. That's where I learned to ride horses. That's where I learned to train horses. That's also where I learned that I have extreme hay fever.
Oops.
Not great when you're 13, but it works. Then we came to Tennessee. And I've lived in West Tennessee from 6th grade until I graduated high school. And I went to Memphis, which is still technically West Tennessee. I came back. Everything was good. And then I hauled out to Florida for 5 years. Where'd I come back to? Home base, West Tennessee.
Yep.
So I'm the southerner of the group. And that's because I've lived in the South longer than I lived in the North.
But that's that Midwestern, the Midwestern. We help our neighbors. The upper Southern states of we help our neighbors.
Oh yeah,
it's that whole thing.
So I help my neighbors. My neighbors still haven't helped me get a tree off my house, but
but it is what it is, and it's just that whole thing of the book talk community. Oh
yes, within our community and everything like that, we are fiercely protective of our own.
Mm-hmm.
And those that aren't, well, I got some choice words to say about them. I ain't gonna say it here, but we're all doing the best we can with what the fuck we've got. And if I can offer me, myself, and I, and 4 extra freaking people, then as long as I got a Red Bull in my hand and somebody knows where to go get good coffee, we're good. Let's roll.
Let's roll.
Plus,
let's help them out.
Here's the good thing. I'm going to have a sign language interpreter with me. So for people who are deaf or hearing impaired, this is a way to open up that particular section that are usually denied because of that particular disability.
Yep.
Or they don't feel comfortable coming out to these events because of their disability. And guess what? Fuck that. I got somebody with me.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, as we all know, we got the books out. We've got Packing the Readers. And we could not be more proud of BJ putting this together, throwing it up, making the plan, putting out the feelers. I just feel so bad that so many people have bailed on her like this. you know, and when this should be an event that is celebrated here in the Midwest. Everything's on the East Coast or the West Coast or down in New Orleans, right? Where's the Midwest love? BJ saw a need and she created it and have I mean, literally, I remember being in a live of hers one time before packing the readers and everything, and I was talking about how that's when she was starting to form the idea about doing one, and I said, "You do one in Green Bay, I am there," because you know I can't make it to Virginia to all these ritzier, richy places and whatnot, and you know, I can't go out to the West Coast. I can't go to Florida, you know, where all these big major events that we hear about on Book Talk and BookTube, I can't go to them. This one, hey, okay, group of my people can all converge on one spot. We have resources. Let's go. Let's do it. And she actually encouraged me to get out there and do the things just like you all have. Like, Izzy, why haven't you published a book yet? Yeah, literally what she was saying, you know, telling me that I can do it, you know, just write the words and do it. And that's when she barely knew me, right? So we're going to show love and support for our fellow author and this event. Just saying. You all know the drill, all the things. We'll get that email out tomorrow. We're going to do the body doubling live tomorrow. Not all of us will be here, but you know that the system will be up, able to hang out in the chat. Hopefully, at least one of us will be here at all times in order to communicate with you, run the timers, etc. You can also join our Discord at any given time. And that's all I got for tonight. Boss Lady.
Thank you all for being here. It was a great second show. Hope didn't seem like we had a whole lot of issues with echo or reverb, so we're getting it. Thank you guys so much for hanging with us, and we'll see you next week. Remember, be brave, be bold, but always stay humble. Bye, guys.